Chapter 45-19. Thank you Kong Lao. Thank you, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian stood in the void, suppressed the excitement in his heart, and bowed his hands to thank the old man and Xiaotianzi. He is very clear. Although, he can get to this point normally. However, it takes time and opportunity. But today, because of Xiaotianzi's whim, he had the opportunity to come this far. Perhaps, Xiaotianzi's original intention was just to watch his swordsmanship, so as to improve his own swordsmanship. However, now it is true that he has gotten more benefits. If your swordsmanship enters the 7th rank, there are probably few people who can be your opponents among the invincible high-ranking gods. Kong Lao, it is rare to say so much at one time. And Xiaotianzi nodded in agreement. Duan Lingtian, if you take this step, you have truly entered the outer world, and even the top inner circle of myriad realms. Invincible high-ranking gods, in any sage power, are the existence of sweet pastry. More precious than the average supreme power. You have stepped into this realm now, and then entered our Bibo Tianfu. What I thought of asking the palace master to give you can also be overturned. With your strength, you can get better things. Xiaotianzi said. Even, as long as you stay in Bibo Tianfu for a certain amount of time, or make a certain contribution to Bibo Tianfu. You can even ask our ancestor of the sage of Bibo Tianfu to make a move for you. Duan Lingtian listened calmly to what Xiaotianzi said earlier. Until Xiaotianzi said that, Duan Lingtian could no longer contain his excitement. Although his face remained the same, the glittering light in his eyes could not deceive anyone. Duan Lingtian. Xiaotianzi looked at Duan Lingtian again. The original majesty was no longer, replaced by a bit of embarrassment. Just now, watching you use kendo, there are a lot of doubts. But I don't know, is it convenient to explain? After all, it is the master of the Golden Dragon Palace who is aloof in Bibo Tianfu. He takes the initiative to ask the younger generation for doubts. For him, he needs to bear a lot of psychological pressure. I would like to serve the hall master. Duan Lingtian responded repeatedly. He had already organized the language in his mind just now, and was going to ask Xiaotianzi if he wanted to continue practicing kendo. Unexpectedly, Xiaotianzi brought it up first. Naturally, he couldn't pass up such an opportunity to return the favor. The first group of people recruited by Bibo Tianfu broke a lot in the return to the ruins that was opened this time. The second group of people entered and continued to contribute to Bibo Tianfu. At the same time, it also explores the path for the genius powerhouse of Bibo Tianfu. In the Bibo Tianfu, there are still some invincible upper gods who have cultivated swordsmanship to the 4th rank. Of course, most of them are good at laws and only comprehend the small perfection realm. The strongest is only close to the invincible upper god. However, one of them is close to the realm of great perfection because of the law of destruction he is good at, plus he has comprehended the 4th order swordsmanship and his special blood power. His strength, placed in Bibo Tianfu, is also the strongest under the invincible superior god. He is also one of the few top geniuses in the Bibo Tianfu who can compare with Duan Lingtian, according to Hu Mingyue, the powerhouse of Bibo Tianfu who brought Duan Lingtian here. Yao Xingchen. This time, the trip to the ruins opened by Bibo Tianfu, Yao Xingchen is also on the list of Bibo Tianfu's trip. He is the strongest among the people in Bibo Tianfu. Of course, not the strongest among the people sent by Bibo Tianfu. Because, this time, Bibo Tianfu found an invincible upper who had practiced swordsmanship to the 4th rank outside, and mastered the laws of the golden system to the state of great perfection. However, he is only a foreign aide of Bibo Tianfu, not a disciple of Bibo Tianfu. Among the disciples sent by Bibo Tianfu this time, Yao Xingchen is still the strongest. Bibo Tianfu. In a quiet courtyard. A young man in black with a stern face was sitting in front of the stone table, looking at another young man in green across the table. What are you doing with me? This young man in black is Yao Xingchen. As for the youth in Tsing Yi, it was Yao Xingchen's half-brother, Yao Tianchen. Yao Tianchen, who was also found by Bibo Tianfu this time, realized the swordsmanship to the fourth-order invincible superior god. In Bibo Tianfu, although there are also invincible superior gods, but because they are not good at swordsmanship, they can't enter the place of return to the ruins open this time. Xingchen, I'm your eldest brother, is that how you talk to your eldest brother? The youth in Tsing Yi, Yao Tianchen, looked at his younger brother, Yao Xingchen, with a playful smile. You are also worthy of saying that you are my eldest brother? Yao Xingchen sneered, Yao Tianchen, you and I have long been strangers, so there is no need to act like a brother. Back then, if it wasn't for my luck, would have died in your hands indirectly. Yao Tianchen, although he is his half-brother by blood, the relationship between the two is not very good. Even Yao Tianchen was jealous of his talent back then. In order to gain the only favor in front of his father, he even planned to kill him. Later, because he had no evidence, his father didn't believe him, so he had no choice but to let it go. It was also that time that he planted the seeds of resentment, so that he ran away from home and joined Bibo Tianfu, which was more powerful than their Yao family. The Yao family is just a semi-holy force. However, because the Yao family has a semi-sacred powerhouse who can kill ordinary semi-sacred people, Yao clan is the strongest among the semi-sacred forces in the Thunder Holy Land. Second only to the power of the saints. Dear brother, wasn't it because you were better than me? Yao Tianchen was still laughing. Now, my golden rules are perfect, I have surpassed you, and I have become an invincible superior god. In addition, my father, and even the clan, have designated me as the only heir of the clan leader. You are no longer a threat to me. Let our brothers go back to the past, how about living in harmony? The current Yao Tianchen looks like a smiling tiger no matter what. Yao Xingchen sneered, Yao Tianchen, don't think I don't know what you're up to. You just don't want to set up my enemy. Today, here, I can also tell you clearly. You and I have long been strangers. For the sake of my father and the blood relationship between you and me, I will not pursue that incident again. See you later, Quan, when I don't know you. Now, you can leave. Yao Xingchen immediately issued a eviction order. And Yao Tianchen also stood up and smiled slightly, since my brother doesn't want to see my brother so much, then he'll go first. Well, see you when we go to the return to the ruins after a while. When the words fell, Yao Tianchen turned and left. However, in the moment of turning around, his eyes flashed with an extremely cold light. Even in the depths of his eyes, there was a bit of killing intent. My heart is even colder, Yao Xingchen, for the sake of your blood relationship, I gave you a chance. Since you don't know what's wrong, then I can only kill you to avoid future troubles. You are not as strong as me now, and you have no status in Bibo Tianfu. It is difficult to embarrass me. But, if you catch up with me in strength in the future, and gain a certain position in Bibo Tianfu, the situation you and I are in today may be reversed. At that time, you can still be like today and say you won't pursue that incident back then? The current Yao Tianchen has the idea of cutting the grass and eradicating the roots. The land of return to the ruins this time is your desperate brother. My dear brother, cherish and enjoy this last time. When you enter that place of return to the ruins, you will have no future to speak of. Yao Tianchen is clear about his younger brother Yao Xingchen's talent. Although their accomplishments in Kendo are all fourth order, he has only recently broken through, and his younger brother has been invading fourth order for many years, and may step into fifth order at any time. As for the rules, if his younger brother Yao Xingchen hadn't studied the law of destruction, if it were replaced by the law of the 5 elements, he would have been consummated long ago. There is even a high probability that he will enter the great perfection earlier than him. Because of this, thinking that he had murdered his younger brother Yao Xingchen back then, he did not dare to let this younger brother grow up. Because once he grows up, it is likely to become his later trouble. If his younger brother comprehends the law of destruction to the realm of great perfection, his strength will definitely be stronger than him. In addition, behind his younger brother is the giant Bibo Tianfu. No matter what, he has to get rid of it first. Chapter 45-20. In the blink of an eye. A year has passed. The second group of people also came out one after another. The two people who were brought from the Duan clan by Hu Mingyue, the powerhouse of Bibo Tianfu, along with Duan Ling Tian, only Lan Ming came out. Shui Ao, that outgoing guy, didn't come out until the last moment. Shui Ao is definitely gone. Lan Ming, who was standing beside Duan Ling Tian, said in a deep voice. Then, before he left, he reminded Duan Ling Tian a few more words. If you are not sure of passing some of the tests left by the owner of the returning ruins in that place, don't force it. If it's too hard, you might get hurt. Once you get hurt, you won't be able to deal with any dangers that come next. Lan Ming walked all the way, and there was not much to say. Now, he can say so much, which is very rare. In particular, it was still reminding Duan Ling Tian. Clear. Duan Ling Tian nodded, his face became slightly solemn, and then asked, "Are you planning to go back, or try to stay in Bibo Tianfu?" "Go for it." Lan Ming smiled bitterly and said, "I'm not like you, the enchanting evildoer who has been favored by the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. If you want to stay in Bibo Tianfu, you can only try your luck. There must be a lot of people who come this time who also want to stay in Bibo Tianfu. Although, most of the people who were brought to explore the ruins this time were loose cultivators who were found by major forces. However, they would be very happy if they could join the sealing forces in the outside world like Bibo Tianfu." When Lan Ming and others were sent away, the third group has also arrived. The second batch of people had a lower loss rate than the first batch. Obviously, the lessons learned by the first batch of people also made them take a lot less detours. Before the arrival of the third group of people, Duan Ling Tian already knew, more than half of this group of people are geniuses of Bibo Tianfu. Although, there may be only a dozen people. But, after all, it is to meet the conditions of the fourth rank of Kendo, and it only needs to exist below the strongest. Under such circumstances, it is very rare to find more than a dozen people in Bibo Tianfu. You must know that even among the hundreds of geniuses in Bibo Tianfu, it is not possible to find two existences who have cultivated to the fourth rank of swordsmanship. There are 4 kinds of heaven and earth. And Kendo is just a branch of the way of weapons. When the third group of people came, Duan Lingshan's gaze couldn't help but swept over them. When some geniuses of Bibo Tianfu knew that Duan Ling Tian had been invited into the Golden Dragon Hall by Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Hall of their Bibo Tianfu, they couldn't help looking at him for a while. In these eyes, there is envy, jealousy, and hatred. More dissatisfaction. However, Duan Ling Tian didn't care either. He has never been someone who looks at other people's faces. What? Suddenly, Duan Ling Tian discovered that among the third group of people, there were 2 people with similar appearances, but they did not stand together, but were separated by a long distance. Looks like brothers. But looking at where they stand, it's like they don't know each other at all. Should just look alike. It's really big in the world, there are no wonders. Bibo Tianfu is looking for a genius powerhouse of the 4th rank of Kendo, and can find 2 people who are so similar. And at this time, in Duan Lingshan's ear, a voice transmission from Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, came. "Duan Ling Tian, have you seen those 2 similar people?" When Duan Ling Tian heard Xiao Tianxi's voice transmission, he quickly responded. He knew that since Xiao Tianxi asked him this question, there must be something else to say. "I just received a message from one of my senior brothers from Bibo Tianfu. Let me say hello to you. If you encounter the person on the right in the land of return to the ruins and want to attack the person on the left, be sure to help." Hit him. My senior brother said that he is willing to give back a favor. My senior brother is also a semi-sage of Bibo Tianfu. After that, Xiao Tianci added. Palace Master, what is this, what's the situation? Duan Lingtian is a little puzzled, isn't it all his own? How can you still get a black hand in there? The man on the left, named Yao Xingchen, is a close disciple of my senior brother, and his strength is not weaker than you before the breakthrough a few months ago. He is a high-ranking god, and he can step into the 5th rank of swordsmanship immediately. The law of destruction that he is good at is also close to the realm of great perfection. Hearing Xiao Tian's words, Duan Lingtian glanced at the young man named Yao Xingchen, but he didn't expect this person to be so powerful. But since the opponent is so powerful, why should he be afraid of the other person? Is it possible? Suddenly, a thought appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind, is that person an invincible upper god? And then, what Xiao Tianci said to him also verified his conjecture. The man on the right, named Yao Tianchen, is the foreign aide that our Bibo Tianfu has recruited this time. He is from the Yao family in Jianshan, and he is an invincible high-ranking god. His golden law is perfect, and his swordsmanship has also entered the 4th level. He is Yao Xingchen's half-brother. All members of the Yao family cultivate swords, but all members of the Yao family are sword cultivators. My senior brother said that in order to prevent his younger brother Yao Xingchen from being able to compete with him for the patriarch seat, Yao Tianchen tried to kill Yao Xingchen. Yao Xingchen was lucky, he was lucky enough to escape, and later moved into our Bibo Tianfu. He was favored by my senior brother and became my senior brother's close disciple. This time, my apprentice brother refused to invite Yao Tianchen. But, Yao Tianchen didn't know where he got the news, so he took the initiative to come to the door and said he would help us Bibo Tianfu go to the returning market to find what we want. Things. The rest of the senior management agreed to him. My brother thinks that his purpose is not that simple, and he may even attack Yao Xingchen inside. Because Yao Xingchen's talent is very high, if he does not die prematurely, it will be a matter of time before the law of destruction wants to enter the realm of great perfection. Sword Dao, sooner or later, will be able to enter the 5th rank. After Xiao Tianci said this, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. At the same time, the gaze that looked at Yao Tianchen became a lot more indifferent. For the position of the patriarch, even his own younger brother must be murdered. Such behavior disgusts him. If I had a younger brother, I would never drag him into the water even if I was in danger myself, let alone hurt him for profit. Duan Lingtian said secretly. Yao Xingchen sighed, my senior brother, and I didn't say hello to him. Because he is very arrogant, if we said we would ask you to take care of him, he would definitely refuse, even after entering the land of return to the ruins, seeing you stay away. Hearing Xiao Tian's next words, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but be speechless. Isn't that arrogant? It's called courting death. Invincible upper god, can he deal with it? Does he have no points in his heart? This time, the 3rd group of people entered the land of return to the ruins. It was presided over by Xiao Tianci, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. After the people handed in their acceptance rings, Xiao Tianci also instructed the other 3 senior officials of Bibo Tianfu present to issue new acceptance rings to Duan Lingtian and others. After these accept rings, after they come out, they must be handed in. In this way, even if the person who goes in gets any treasure, unless it is used inside, once it is brought out, it cannot be hidden. Everyone already knew this. Therefore, it is not excluded. Come in. As Xiao Tianci opened his mouth, one after another figure stepped into the place of returning to the ruins. And Duan Lingtian also followed the crowd in. Chapter 45-21. As Duan Lingtian's eyes darkened and lit up, he discovered that he and the group of people who came in appeared in a vast open space. Looking around, it was all white, blocked by mist. I don't even know what's behind the fog. However, the first group and the second group came to explore the way first, and said something, which was recorded in the memory jade slip and sent to them, so that they could avoid many detours. Behind them, a space vortex is suspended there, which is obviously the exit of the land of return to the ruins. According to the words of the first group of people who came in and went out. When they first came in, a voice told them that there is one entrance to the land of return to the ruins, and 9 exits. After the 9 exits go out, there is a single entrance. Outside. The only entrance that came in should be this. As for going out, in addition to this opening, there are other half options. Duan Lingtian said secretly. Now, 31 people, including Duan Lingtian, have all come in. However, as soon as they came in, someone came up to chat with Duan Lingtian. I heard that your name is Duan Lingtian? You come from the Duan clan below the Tourmaline Holy City? Has the swordsmanship reached the 6th level? Duan Lingtian, is your swordsmanship really at the 6th level? Show it to us. In my impression, there are only saints who have practiced swordsmanship to the 6th stage. Duan Lingtian, you didn't deliberately make false reports to make Hall Master Xiao mistakenly believe that you were invited to enter our Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Hall, right? Now, the people who are approaching the front are obviously the geniuses and powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu. Because, only they can know these things. However, the current Duan Lingtian ignored them. He saw that Yao Xingchen was the first to leave. Not long after Yao Xingchen left, Yao Tianchen also left and followed. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian felt helpless for a while. I know, it's not a good job to promise Xiao Hall Master. Just came in front of so many people, Yao Tianchen didn't dare to do it. Now, seeing Yao Xingchen leave alone, he also found an opportunity. Because of this, Duan Lingtian didn't pay attention to the group of geniuses from Bibo Tianfu who came forward, and left directly behind Yao Tianchen, followed by distance. Seeing that Duan Lingtian just left, a group of geniuses in Bibo Tianfu were a little stunned. Obviously they didn't expect that Duan Lingtian would not give them face like this. This Lingtian is so arrogant? Completely ignore people? Do you really think you are an invincible superior god? It's so arrogant. Look at it, even if this person enters our Bibo Tianfu and enters the Golden Dragon Palace, it won't be long before he must die. Duan Lingtian did not hear the words of a group of geniuses from the Bibo Tianfu behind. Even if you hear it, you won't care. Now he is following behind Yao Tianchen, and now Yao Tianchen is following Yao Xingchen. However, after all, it is the invincible superior god. Yao Tianchen soon discovered Duan Lingtian's tracking, stopped, turned his head suddenly, and looked at Duan Lingtian like electricity. Boy, what are you doing with me? In Yao Tianchen's eyes, a cold light flickered. The young man in purple clothed in front of him, he also heard outside just now, is a top genius who has cultivated to the 6th rank in Kendo. For this kind of genius, he was extremely jealous in his heart. You must know that even if they are all sword cultivators in the Yao family, in the long history of the Yao family, no one can step into the 6th rank of Kendo, and at most they will step into the peak of the 5th rank of Kendo. That one was also the strongest semi-sage in the history of their Yao clan. However, after all, it cannot resist the erosion of the years, and under the 10,000-year catastrophe of the more and more powerful supreme power, it will be wiped out. Now, the 2 semi-sages of their Yao clan have also cultivated Kendo to the 5th level. The land of returning to the ruins is so big, why do you say I'm following you? Duan Lingtian said lightly. Don't follow me anymore. Yao Tianchen gave Duan Lingtian a warning look, and said in a cold voice, otherwise, I will kill you. The voice fell, and he continued to follow Yao Xingchen. He doesn't think that if he really wants to make a move, the person in front of him can be his opponent, and he even has a certain degree of certainty to kill the opponent. However, he had to use the whole card left to Yao Xingchen. If he didn't have that trump card, with his strength, although he could defeat the existence of the same level as Yao Xingchen in front of him, it would still be difficult to kill the opponent. Especially if you want to kill each other without disturbing others, it is almost impossible. Once there is too much movement, if he can't kill the others, as long as one person goes out and spreads the news, he will die when he goes out. There is not only one exit in this place of return to the ruins. Therefore, he had to think carefully. Moreover, once he starts now, there must be no small movement. Yao Xingchen will also notice it, and even become vigilant. In that case, it would be even more difficult for him to kill Yao Xingchen. Kill me? Duan Lingtian smiled lightly. Then, as if you didn't hear the other party's words, continue to follow the other party. Yao Tianchen also quickly discovered Duan Lingtian's follow-up again. His face turned ashen, he stopped again, and stared at Duan Lingtian coldly. Boy, what are you trying to do? Are you challenging my tolerance limit? In Yao Tianshan's eyes, the killing intent was awe-inspiring, the divine power on his body oscillated, the faint golden light gradually solidified, and the 5 sharp swordsman's aura spread out. I heard that you are an invincible upper god. Duan Lingtian still had a faint smile on his face, and asked bluntly. That's right. Yao Tianshan said proudly, so, I advise you to stop following me. Otherwise, I will kill you. Although it is difficult, it is not impossible. You are an unparalleled genius in the Tourmaline Holy City, but in my Yao Tianshan's eyes, that's what it is. Yao Tianshan does have his proud capital. He was the first among the younger generation of the Yao family to comprehend the law to the realm of great perfection. Otherwise, he would not be designated as the next patriarch of the Yao family. It's enough to be an invincible upper god. Duan Lingtian nodded, and then the divine power began to swept up from his body. He looked at Yao Tianshan again, with a little more fighting intent. How about a fight with me? I've been holding back for months. Since Kendo touched the 7th order threshold, Duan Lingtian never made a move. Because, there is no chance to make a move. At that time, all the people present were a group of superpowers, and they really wanted to fight him, but they also completely abused him. Now, it is difficult to have an opponent. Moreover, he is still an invincible high-ranking who is good at Kendo. He, too, was eager to try. Chapter 45-22. Is it just you, worthy of self-proclaimed sun and moon? Yao Tianshan thought that after the other party confirmed that he was the invincible superior god, he would definitely retreat. Who would have thought that after knowing that he was an invincible high-ranking god, the other party would take the initiative to initiate an invitation to learn from each other? Discussion? Although he didn't expect it in his heart, on the surface, Yao Tianshan didn't show it. Instead, he smiled coldly. What Yao Tianshan cultivates is the method of killing. Let's learn from each other. I don't understand, and I want. If you really want to fight me, you will be dead. You, think about it. In his opinion, he said that for this sake, the person in front of him should always retreat, right? After all, he is an invincible upper god. What is the invincible upper god? Under the strongest existence, the invincible existence. However, what the purple-clothed youth said next made him even more unexpected. Death to life? It's also okay. As long as you are happy. Duan Lingtian smiled slightly, and the smile was harmless to humans and animals, but when it fell into Yao Tianshan's eyes, it seemed extraordinarily hateful. Boy, are you sure you want to fight me? Thinking that Yao Xingchen is probably far away from the front now, and may even be about to leave the range that he can track, he is so anxious for a while that he has no intention to stay here for a long time. Invincible upper god, is there so much nonsense? Duan Lingtian frowned, a little impatient. Humph. Yao Tianshan snorted coldly. Boy, if you want to decide between life and death with me, after you go out, you and I will decide between life and death. I want to show those superpowers of Bibo Tianfu and the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. The person he likes is vulnerable in front of me, Yao Tianchen. As for now, I still have business, I don't have time to play with you. The words fell, and Yao Tianchen's body flashed with golden light, like a golden meteor, swept away into the distance. However, he just flew out a distance, but stopped in an instant. Only because Duan Lingtian appeared on his way, and hugged the Qiqiao Linglong sword, looking at him with a smile. If you don't fight me, don't even think about finding what you want in this ruined land. Thing. Why does Yao Tianchen not want to fight? How could he not know? I just wanted to hunt down Yao Xingchen. To help Yao Xingchen, he agreed to Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. Now, he really wants to discuss with Yao Tianchen. Simply the best of both worlds. Under such circumstances, how could Yao Tianchen run away? As for Yao Tianchen, who was stopped by Duan Lingtian repeatedly and twice, his face was extremely ugly for a while, and he was really angry. At the same time, he also knew that if he didn't fight the person in front of him, it would be difficult to get rid of him. If you fight, kill the opponent, you don't have much confidence. However, defeating the opponent is 100% sure. His heart was extremely cold. Today, I will leave the trump card to Yao Xinghe. For the time being, I just want to defeat this short-sighted guy and let him retreat. After I go out, I will find a chance to kill him. Yao Tianchen already had killing intent towards Duan Lingtian in his heart. Humph. With a cold snort, Yao Tianchen stared at Duan Lingtian indifferently. Boy, since you want to fight me, I will do it for you. It's good for you to know. Even if your strength is very close to the invincible upper god, but in front of me, the invincible upper god, you are like the light of rice grains, vulnerable to a single blow. The stars are never able to compete with the sun and the moon. Yao Tianchen's voice fell, his body was raging with golden light, and there was an extra sword in his hand. The whole body was dark, and it exuded an incomparable aura. It was obviously his supreme artifact. In front of Duan Lingtian, who holds the supreme artifact, he didn't dare to care. Hearing Yao Tianchen's words, Duan Lingtian smiled. Xingchen, naturally, it will never be able to compete with the sun and the moon. Only. Just you, are you worthy of calling yourself the sun and moon? When the voice fell, Duan Lingtian's mouth also had a sneer. And Yao Tianchen was angered by Duan Lingtian unsurprisingly, and even had the urge to take out Yao Xingchen's trump card and kill the person in front of him. This guy, speaking too hard, right? Dare to mock him? Boy, you are courting death. With a loud shout, Yao Tianchen started to move, the supreme divine sword in his hand swept, and the dazzling golden sword light shot straight into the sky, and then roared down towards Duan Lingtian as if with a world-breaking momentum. Hum. The sword fell, the void trembled, and the space swayed, as if it might be cracked at any time. Obviously, it has almost reached the limit of the strength that this land of return to the ruins can hold. This is also the reason why this place of return to the ruins prohibits the entry of the most powerful beings. At most, it can only accommodate the invincible upper gods. The golden rule of the great perfection is really powerful. In the face of Yao Tianchen's whistling sword, Duan Lingtian exclaimed in amazement, but his expression did not change, and then he swung the sword out in a hurry. It's just, your swordsmanship is too rubbish. Rubbish. In a word, Yao Tianchen almost vomited blood. The fourth order kendo, you call it garbage? You must know that even in the Yao clan behind him with all the swordsmen, he and his younger brother Yao Xingchen are the only ones in his generation who have cultivated swordsmanship to the 4th level. The rest of the people, as for a few people, have stepped into the 3rd level of kendo. However, he also knew that if the opponent really understood the 6th order kendo, then he was indeed qualified to judge his kendo in this way. Then watch carefully, how my trash swordsman defeated you. Yao Tianchen shouted angrily, and the golden light on the sword in his hand became more and more dazzling, as if it turned into a scorching sun, illuminating the entire place of return to the ruins, dazzling. Even Yao Xingchen, who was in a far-away place, and others, also discovered it. Yao Xingchen frowned. It's Yao Tianchen. He shot. Have you met a postgraduate student? Shaking his head, he had no plans to join in the fun. He came in this time with a mission, and he also had his own ambitions. He hoped that he could find a way to step into the 5th rank of Kendo in this place of return that was clearly left by strong Kendo experts. Once his Kendo steps into the 5th step, his attainments in the law of destruction can also go further. As early as many years ago, his law of destruction was tied to Kendo. Now, as long as the Kendo goes a step further and steps into the 5th step, he is sure to let the law of destruction step into the realm of great perfection, and since then he has become an invincible upper goddess. However, although Yao Xingchen did not go to join in the fun. However, the group of people from Bibo Tianfu, as well as the talented and powerful people who were invited by Bibo Tianfu, had not gone far, but at this time, they all joined in to watch the fun. It's Duan Ling Tian. He fought with Yao Tianchen. Yao Tianchen is an invincible high-ranking god, he dares to provoke him. Is he courting death? These people had already been attracted before Yao Tianchen's sword glow fell. Chapter 45-23. No one thought that Duan Ling Tian could be Yao Tianchen's opponent. Although, Duan Lingshen's strength is very strong, even enough to compare to the strongest disciples under the invincible superior gods of Bibo Tianfu. However, that is only under the invincible superior god Venerable. This Yao Tianchen is the heir to the patriarch of the Yao clan in Jianshan, the 4th rank of Kendo, and he has also comprehended the laws of the golden system to the realm of great perfection. He is a real evildoer. The invincible high god Venerable, known as the strongest under the Xian. This paragraph of Ling Tian, although he is the type of powerhouse closest to the invincible high god Venerable, is only the closest. With the real invincible high god Venerable, there is still a big difference. There is almost no suspense in this battle. I really don't know what this paragraph of Ling Tian thought, to provoke Yao Tianchen. Perhaps, the two of them have hatred, Yao Tianchen wants to deal with him? If that's the case, I can only blame him for being unlucky. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Yao Tianchen slashed down from the sky with a sword, like a giant sword standing in the sky, falling across the space from the sky and sweeping towards Duan Ling Tian. On the other hand, Duan Ling Tian not only did not mean to avoid, but even took a step forward. Fight against me, I advise you that it's better not to use your trash kendo. The words fell, and the power of space law on Duan Lingshen's body was turbulent, merged with divine power, and injected it into the 7 apertures Linglong sword. And then, the swordsmanship that touched the 7th order threshold was also revealed. In an instant, the surrounding air vibrated, and after that, it seemed to be condensed into a series of translucent light and shadows, turned into sword shapes, and slowly spread and swept. Call out. The sword whistling sounded, but it was Duan Ling Tian who brought out the sword. As soon as the sword came out, the thousands of translucent light and shadow condensed swords in the air also swept out, as if with an aura that could destroy the sky and destroy the earth. In full view. Yao Tianchen's gigantic golden lightsaber that roared down, followed by Duan Lingshen's 7-colored sword glow, which seemed to be weak, stopped in the void. Then, the golden giant sword was shrouded in the translucent sword shadows that roared along with the colorful sword lights, as if it was surrounded by locusts passing through. At last, a scene that shocked the audience and even Yao Tianchen, the party involved, appeared. I saw that the golden giant sword, after stopping for a moment, actually cracked open inch by inch under the translucent sword shadow like a locust, and then disappeared into the void. Call out. The colorful sword glow continued to move forward, killing Yao Tianchen. Yao Tianchen came back to his senses, quickly took a defensive posture, and all the divine power swept up, and the golden law of the great perfection was integrated into it. A large sword and shield appeared in front of him. "I told you, in front of me, don't play your trash kendo." Duan Lingtian spoke again with an indifferent tone. At the same time, the colorful lightsaber touched the sword and shield, and it shattered directly. "If you don't use kendo, your defense, I may not be able to break down in such a short period of time." As Duan Lingshan's voice fell, the colorful sword light continued to kill Yao Tianchen. And Yao Tianchen, at this time, finally sensed it. Seventh Order. You actually understood the Seventh Order swordsmanship. Yao Tianchen suddenly screamed, and his voice was full of astonishment and inconceivable. At the same time, he also used his defense again. This time, he obeyed. "Don't dare to use kendo again." Just relying on divine power and the golden rule of the great perfection realm, Duan Lingshan's colorful sword glow was stopped, and after a while, the colorful sword glow was also wiped out. At the same time, Yao Tianchen's face was pale. In the process of defense, the consumption of him is not small. However, although he was slightly injured to a certain extent, the current Yao Tianchen obviously had no time to take this into account. He looked at Duan Lingtian again with a bit of fear in his eyes. "Seventh Order Kendo? Fuck. Really fake? Really?" The onlookers were shocked by the scene in front of them. Yao Tianchen, the invincible high-ranking god, was actually pressed and beaten by Duan Lingtian? Now, when they heard Yao Tianchen's words, they were all stunned. Seventh level kendo. Is there anyone in the world who can understand it? As far as I know, in all worlds, and even beyond the world, the strongest existence in kendo has only comprehended the sixth order kendo, and they are all powerful existences among saints. If you comprehend the seventh order swordsmanship, if you comprehend the profound meaning of the law to the realm of great perfection, once you become the strongest, then you will be the top existence among the saints, right? It is estimated that they have surpassed the saints and stepped into another realm. The seventh level Xion, well known. Even a saint is only the sixth rank of the strongest. And the powerhouse above the seventh rank, according to rumors, the world, and even the contemporary world outside the world, does not exist. The place where they are now is said to have been left by the powerhouses above the seventh rank that appeared in ancient times. Seventh Order Kendo? Hearing Yao Tianchen's words, and seeing Yao Tianchen's eyes again, Duan Lingtian smiled lightly. "If I understand the seventh Order Kendo, just the sword just now, even if you don't use kendo later, you can't stop it." When he touched the threshold of the seventh order kendo, Duan Lingtian discovered, his kendo can already affect the surrounding air and all nearby forces, making them part of the kendo for him to drive. Yao Tianchen's kendo, which only has the fourth rank, was suppressed by his kendo and counter-terrorism in the process of his shot just now, which became his side's help. It is precisely because of this that Yao Tianchen's attack was so easily broken by him. If Yao Tianchen didn't use swordsmanship from the beginning, and if he fought against him with divine power and the laws of the golden element, at most he would be tied with Yao Tianchen, and it would be difficult to hurt Yao Tianchen. Unfortunately, Yao Tianchen didn't do that. Impossible. Hearing Duan Lingshan's denial, Yao Tianchen did not believe it. My Yao family has cultivated swords for generations, although no one in history has cultivated to the seventh level of kendo. However, in the ancient books of my Yao family, there are still a record of the seventh level of kendo. Once the swordsmanship steps into the seventh step, all things within a certain distance around it can be transformed into swords. The swordsmanship below the seventh rank performed by the opponent can be seized and used for one's own use. Obviously, Yao Tianchen concluded that Duan Lingtian had mastered the seventh rank of kendo. You have comprehended the seventh order swordsmanship. Even if the space law you have comprehended is only the space law of the small perfection realm, you are already an invincible upper god venerable, and you are the strongest among the invincible upper god venerable. Am not your opponent either. Although Yao Tianxin was unwilling to accept it, he had to accept it. The person in front of him, comprehending the seventh order kendo, made him feel weak for a while, and at the same time, deep in his heart, the judgment of the other party who recognized the kendo he mastered, garbage kendo. Compared with the other party's kendo, the kendo he understood is indeed garbage kendo. Chapter 45-24. History partition. Seeing that Yao Tianxin had lost his fighting spirit, Duan Lingtian shook his head. I originally planned to tell the other party that I had only touched the threshold of the 7th rank of kendo, and had not yet stepped into the 7th rank of kendo. Now, I am afraid that the other party may not believe it. Maybe he thought that Duan Lingtian was looking for sandbags. Call. Duan Lingtian flickered and swept in the direction Yao Xingchen left just now. Seeing this, Yao Tianxin's face suddenly sank. He had originally planned to track Yao Xingchen, but he could only dismiss the idea. He could almost predict, if Duan Lingtian encounters him against Yao Xingchen, there is a high probability that the other party will help Yao Xingchen, because now Duan Lingtian is also a disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu, and Yao Xingchen is his own. If there is this Lingtian, even if I use the whole card, it will be difficult to kill that Yao Xingchen. Forget it, count him lucky. After a year in the land of return to ruins, I still don't believe that he is lucky every time and appears near Duan Lingtian. Thinking of this, Yao Tianxin was relieved again. Then, went in the other direction. And the group of talented geniuses from the Bibo Tianfu present at this time mostly looked at each other in dismay, and the depths of their eyes were full of fear. After knowing that Duan Lingtian had mastered the 7th order swordsmanship, no one among them would speak bad words of Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian has mastered the 7th order swordsmanship, which also means that Duan Lingtian has stepped into the realm of invincible upper gods, and he is still the strongest among invincible upper gods. Even Yao Tianxin, an invincible high-ranking god, is not his opponent. Certainly. They know it too. Not an opponent is not an opponent. Both are invincible superior gods, want to kill another superior god, even if the strength is better than the other party, it is difficult to achieve. Unless you make multiple preparations and make the opponent hard to guard, then there is a chance to kill the opponent. It's only a trace. Duan Lingtian moved forward all the way, and found that Yao Xingchen had long since disappeared, and he also realized for a while that he was too careless. Yao Xingchen did not stop to watch the liveliness between him and Yao Tianxin. After walking forward for a while, after confirming that Yao Xingchen could not be found, he stopped looking for himself and began to observe the surroundings, and his consciousness swept out. Officially began to spy on this place of return to the ruins. The place of return to the ruins is said to be an ancient artifact before the blockade of history, left by the supreme powers above the 7th rank. Since history blocked, this world has never been born with a superpower above the 7th order. If you want to step into the 7th rank of Xian, in addition to a certain law, you need to comprehend the realm of great perfection, and one of the 4 ways of heaven and earth must also comprehend the 7th rank. This is the threshold of the 7th order Xian. In recent years, it's not that no one has stepped into the 7th rank of the 4 paths of heaven and earth. However, these people have either perished without becoming a superpower, or the law has not stepped into the realm of great perfection. It's like, the 7th order of the 4 worlds of heaven and earth is in conflict with the laws of the great perfection realm, and it is difficult to go hand in hand. Even if it's me now. Since the last time Kendo stepped into the 7th step, Duan Lingtian found that the way forward in Kendo has become extremely vast and clueless, and until now, there has been no progress. If you want to step in, it feels more difficult than going to the sky. In the past, the senior sword of time, it is said that he realized the swordsmanship to the 6th rank, and touched the threshold of the 7th rank. In addition, the law seems to be close to the great perfection. Furthermore, he is cultivating the kendo of time, and the two go hand in hand. Once the kendo enters the 7th level, the law will also step into the great perfection together with a high probability. But he died. Some people say that a sage shot him and didn't want him to go further, because, once he goes a step further, he may directly step into the 7th rank of Xian, surpassing all the sages at that time. Would like to see. Some people say that at the moment of his breakthrough, he encountered the exclusive heavenly robbery of the 7th rank of Xian, and because he did not succeed in transcending the calamity, he perished. Some people say that in the process of breaking through, he was attacked by laws and swordsmanship, and he died and disappeared. The 7th rank of the strongest is like a peculiar magic. After the historical partition, there has never been a 7th order Xian existence. The only traces left in this world of the 7th tier powerhouses are the land of return to the ruins that have been gradually discovered. However, after so many years, countless places of return to the ruins have been unearthed. Even when many people, including the strongest, have gone in to explore, they still haven't found why the 7th tier of the strong cannot be born before and after the historical partition. The clues of the strong. After a moment, Duan Lingtian came back to his senses, and shook his head with a wry smile. I'm only now looking at the threshold of stepping into the invincible upper god venerable. It's too early to think about this. What I can do now is to continue to improve myself. The laws of space, since the last time Kong Lao spared no effort in pointing out, has been slightly improved, and it is no longer difficult to progress. Whether it's Kong Lao or that Hall Master Xiao, the advice they gave me was to improve my own swordsmanship, and let my half-dimensional space swordsman evolve into a real space swordsman. The real space kendo is completely tied to the kendo. For example, my current kendo, if it can be perfectly integrated into the space law that I am good at, the current kendo realm will be enough to help my space law enter the great perfection realm. To put it bluntly, it is to completely turn the swordsmanship into one's own, without any other impurities. But only Duan Lingtian knew. It's not that simple to make his kendo completely his own. His kendo is mixed with too much kendo perception of his master, and he is used to it, and he has been subtly affected. He wants to integrate the laws of space into it and expel his master's kendo perception. How easy is it to say? Here is the place of return to the ruins left by the strong rank 7 and above who are good at kendo. His kendo must be above the 7th rank. Maybe, I can find something here that is helpful to me right now. Duan Lingtian said secretly. Not just him. Even for the other geniuses from Bibo Tianfu, including those from Bibo Tianfu, after entering the land of return to the ruins, the most important thing is to improve himself and help him. As for those things that Bibo Tianfu wants, they put it behind. As for those high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu, it is naturally impossible not to know this. But they couldn't do it either. Who let this place of return to the ruins, only let the most powerful, understand the swordsmanship to the existence of the 7th order and above. They have no choice, nor can they interfere too much with the will of those who enter. Chapter 45-25. Because of this place of return to the ruins, two groups of people have come in front. Therefore, some valuable things that can be found in the front have been emptied. Now, Duan Lingtian can only explore and go deeper. However, those who entered the first two batches also gave them a good head and shared a lot of useful experience, allowing Duan Lingtian to avoid several dangerous places one after another. Go deeper. In the process, he also got some things, including the same thing that Bibo Tianfu wanted. After walking forward for a while, Duan Lingtian found that there were many people gathered in front of him, and then looked forward. I saw a sudden shock in the void ahead. After getting closer, he also heard the voices of those who came in with him around in front of him. What's the situation? What a strong killing intent. It feels as if something was born. There seems to be an aura of kendo in it. Most of the people around were raw faces, and there was only one person. Duan Lingtian had some impressions, and he was also a foreign aide from Bibo Tianfu. In addition to Yao Tianchen, another invincible superior god. Before he came in, the invincible superior god Venerable, Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, had also mentioned to him that he was an invincible superior venerable who had comprehended the swordsmanship to the 4th rank and mastered the earth-based laws of the great perfection. His kendo is more defensive. It is said that since he became the invincible superior god, no one under the strongest can make him hurt. Of course, his defense is strong, and his attack is weak among the invincible upper gods. But, even so, his attack is not comparable to the non-invincible superior god Venerable. He seems to be called Zhengbin. Just when Duan Lingtian was about to come forward to watch the fun, suddenly, the surrounding world shook. Then, a strong kendo aura came from the pavement. Duan Lingtian saw that above the area where the onlookers in front were, and above the sky, a hole suddenly opened. After the hole appeared, gray light was entangled, and there were also black lightning that was thick as an adult's arm. It looked mighty. A dangerous aura suddenly spread. It seems something is not good. Duan Lingtian had the intention of retreating. And the invincible superior god Venerable Zheng Bin in front of him also retreated almost when Duan Lingtian retreated. However, at this moment, boom! Boom! The ground shook for a while, as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. Above the sky dome in the void in front of him, suddenly a huge sword light broke through the sky and fell. At the moment when the sword glow appeared, a powerful aura of destruction spread out towards the surroundings. Not good. Duan Lingtian was about to turn around and run away. But at this moment, he discovered that there seemed to be an irresistible invisible force that bound him in place, making him unable to move at all. His body couldn't move at all. Only consciousness remains. The eyes can still see things too. In the distance in front, the invincible superior god Venerable Zhengbin was obviously in the same situation as Duan Lingtian at this time. Boom! There was another loud noise, and after the huge sword light falling from the sky in front was fully revealed, a sharp and unparalleled force turned into a ray of light and swept in all directions. The closest group of people, in an instant, in Duan Lingshan's eyes, the moment they were enveloped in light, they turned into ashes. And then, that Zhengbin also turned into ashes after a moment of radiance. Duan Lingtian saw that the light like the light of destruction was getting closer and closer, and his body was still unable to control, his heart was split, and his heart was desperate. The light is getting closer. Soon, Duan Lingtian was drowned in it. It didn't take long. Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, who was outside the land of returning ruins, changed abruptly. And the other 3 powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu around him seemed to have noticed something at this time, and their faces changed greatly. Just now, half of the kendo genius who entered our Bibo Tianfu died? One of the strongest, with a look of astonishment on his face. He just received a message from Bibo Tianfu, saying that half of the disciples of Bibo Tianfu who entered the land of return to the ruins this time had their soul beads shattered. Xiao Tianxi and others obviously changed their color because they received the summons. What's the situation? Didn't 2 groups of people enter the land of the ruins before? Those 2 groups of people seem to have never experienced such rapid casualties. Hall Master Xiao, what do you think? The 3 supreme powers looked at Xiao Tianxi in unison. Among the people present, Xiao Tianxi is the leader, because Xiao Tianxi is the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu, his status in Bibo Tianfu is higher than them, and his strength is stronger than them. This group of people should have touched some taboo in the land of return to the ruins. Otherwise, it stands to reason that this situation is impossible. Xiao Tianxi guessed in a deep voice. Now, he can only make guesses based on the experience of returning to the ruins that he knew in the past. Plus, they can't do anything. Because, this place of return to the ruins, they can't enter. Even if they wanted to force it in, they couldn't. If violent means are used, this land of ruins may even self-destruct, and then turn it into a single blow to counter-kill those who use violent means. There have even been saints killed in this way in the history of the Outer Lands. The powerhouses who left the land of return to the ruins are all super powerhouses before the historical partition, at least the existence of the 7th Order Zeon, and there may even be the existence of the 8th and 9th Order Zeons. Duan Ling Tian. If it is said that other people perish, Xiao Tianxi does not feel much. However, when he thought of Duan Ling Tian, the genius he had just invited into his Golden Dragon Palace, he couldn't help but raise some expectations in his heart. I hope he is not among the people who perished. Duan Ling Tian is too enchanting. He can even foresee that as long as Duan Ling Tian is given enough time, even Duan Ling Tian will not be able to open the shackles of the 7th Order Zeon, and he will definitely become a superpower in the world outside the world, and even in the world. The existence standing at the peak of the 6th Order Zeon. Of course, the premise is that Duan Ling Tian can step into the realm of Zeon. The stronger the talent, the better the foundation of the superior gods. After just breaking through to the superior gods and mastering the power of the laws of a small perfection, once they refuse the call of the superior state, they want to step into the realm on their own. Zeon, not easy. Even he was lucky enough to step into Zeon back then. At that time, the power of the law was not even perfect, but only close, and the swordsmanship was only the 4th level. It was only after he stepped into Zeon that he understood the laws of the great perfection. Duan Ling Tian, if you die, it will be a big loss to my Bibo Tianfu. Chapter 45-26. Out of Bounds. Wind Sanctuary. On a cantilevered cliff. A handsome young man in a green robe was surrounded by 6 people. Among the 6 people, there are young people, middle-aged people, and old people. Including the youth in Qingpao, they are all disciples of a nearby semi-holy force, Langyajianga, but looking at the current posture, they are obviously fighting in the same room. The wind is blowing. Among the 6, one of the old men looked at the young man in green robe surrounded by them with a grin. You are really amazing. Just the middle god, you have mastered the 4th Order swordsmanship. You can master the 4th Order swordsmanship with this level of cultivation. I am afraid you have a lot of adventures. Say it, how about sharing with us senior brothers? After speaking, the old man's eyes were full of greed. The same goes for the other 5. The wind is blowing. A middle-aged man said with a sneer, don't try to spread the news in vain. We have already set up an interference formation here, just to wait for you to enter the urn. Now, you are calling Tian not an earth not working. You are only in the middle of the gods, and you are valued by the deputy pavilion. Feng Qingyang, you are really amazing. Now, how do you understand the secret of the 4th Order swordsmanship before you reach the upper gods? Follow us talk about it. Feng Qingyang, those who know the current affairs are Junjia. The young man in green robe is Duan Lingshan's master, and the wind is light. After he left the anti-god realm back then and came to a place outside the realm, he went all the way to the vicinity of the Langyajianga area. When he was beheading a big monster, the deputy pavilion master of Langya Sword Pavilion happened to pass by. Seeing his amazing swordsmanship, he sent an invitation to him to enter Langya Sword Pavilion. To know, at that time, he was just a lower god. And the deputy pavilion master of Langya Sword Pavilion is the existence of the 4th rank of Zeon. The other party did not propose to accept Feng Qingyang as his disciple, because Feng Qingyang was showing the 4th Order Kendo at that time, and the deputy pavilion master of Langyajianga also had the 4th Order Kendo. He gets along with Feng Qingyang, more of an equal exchange. And he, without knowing that Feng Qingyang hid most of the Kendo, in the process of communicating with Feng Qingyang, the Kendo entered the realm very quickly. Because of this, he valued Feng Qingyang more and more. It also collected many treasures from heaven and earth to improve Feng Qingyang's cultivation. Therefore, in a short time, Feng Qingyang stepped into the middle god. Even now, it is not far from the realm of the upper gods. Feng Qingyang did not expect that someone would have the idea of playing his own kendo. Also, do you think his kendo came from some kind of chance encounter? Are these people out of their minds? Or did jealousy drive them completely crazy and irrational? Even if he got the kendo of today because of chance and adventure, can that process be able to be shared with others? Perhaps they didn't intend to let me leave today, whether they gained anything or not. The wind whispered softly. Among these 6 people, there was one person who he felt was just a little familiar at first. Now, after thinking about it, he suddenly realized. Wasn't it the twin brother of the disciple of Langia Sword Pavilion who had conflicted with him and was bestowed to death by the deputy pavilion master in Langia Sword Pavilion? 6 upper gods, surround me with a middle god. What a big battle. Facing the siege of 6 people, Feng Qingyang's expression remained unchanged, and he smiled lightly, as if there was nothing in the world which could make his mood fluctuate. Feng Qingyang, sensible people, tell us why your swordsmanship is improving so fast. A young man asked in a cold voice. Feng Qingyang, if you don't want to die, you'd better cooperate. Another middle-aged man also said. Feng Qingyang still smiled, everyone, even if you didn't plan to let me leave alive? If I leave, even if you have gained something today, do you plan to leave Langia Sword Pavilion forever? Are you not afraid that I will sue you on the side of the deputy pavilion master? Since I didn't intend to leave me alive, why should I cooperate with you? Hearing Feng Qingyang's words, the expressions of the 6 people changed. Feng Qingyang, if you cooperate, we can let you die quickly. Otherwise, we will slowly torture you to death, and finally let you die. The old man gritted his teeth and threatened. Feng Qingyang was still smiling, really? So, I'll wait and see. Hearing Feng Qingyang's words, the 6 of them couldn't hold back any longer, they all shot and killed Xiang Feng Qingyang. Even if Feng Qingyang is only the middle god, they still don't dare to be careless, because when Feng Qingyang was in Langyajianga, he did not defeat the upper god. In the face of the 6 people's shots, Feng Qingyang sighed, since you are looking for death, I will fulfill you. The voice fell, but Feng Qingyang didn't see any movement. The green robe on his body moved, and a fierce and unparalleled aura swept up from him. In an instant, the surrounding air, and even all the rocks on the cliff, turned into sharp swords, gathered into 10,000 swords, and gathered towards him. Go towards the siege of the 6. Call out. Call out. Call out. Call out. Call out. The inexhaustible sound of sword chirping sounded, and the 6 people had just set off for a distance, far away from the wind, but their eyes were lost, and their bodies fell into the air. But their whole bodies were pierced by countless Dao-sharp swords, as if 10,000 swords pierced their hearts. Call. Feng Qingyang moved and left. A rippling ripple swept across his feet. The next moment, the 6 corpses were covered, then gradually decayed, and finally turned into dust and ashes, scattered with the wind, as if they had never appeared. The law of time, it is not far from being completely integrated into my swordsmanship. Once integrated, my law of time can step into the realm of great perfection. The median is repaired, the 7th order swordsmanship, and the law of time re-enters the realm of great perfection. Apart from me, who else is there? With an indifferent smile, Feng Qingyang turned into a gust of wind and headed towards Langyajianga. He didn't know until he came to the outer lands. The time sword inheritance he got, the time sword, is so amazing. However, his current achievements, compared to the time sword of the past, are not inferior. At best, his cultivation is not as good as the time sword at that time. The sword of time was already the strongest at that time. However, his swordsmanship has surpassed the original time sword. Of course, the law of time is even worse. When the sword of time of those years fell, the law of time was perfect, and Kendo erased the seventh order threshold. When Kendo was about to enter the seventh order, the punishment came. Time's sword almost died under the punishment of heaven. At a critical moment, relying on the environment of the Azura Hell in the anti-god realm, and self-destructing the way of swordsmanship, he escaped the catastrophe, but he also ran out of fuel and lost his former glory. Don't be in a hurry to step into the realm of the upper gods. According to what the senior sword of time said, the four realms of heaven and earth, once they step into the seventh order and the realm of great perfection together with the law, they will usher in unprecedented punishment. Heavenly punishment is based on cultivation. The higher the cultivation, the stronger. After the historical separation, no one above the upper gods can make the four worlds step into the seventh order at the same time, and the law is perfect. Even before the historical partition, none of the most powerful people could do that, and there were very few high-ranking gods. Before the historical partition, most people completed the most critical step in front of the upper gods. Because of knowing this. Therefore, even if Feng Qingyang has recently been enough to step into the realm of high-ranking gods, he still suppresses his cultivation. Because, he wants to imitate the predecessors before the historical partition, and face the punishment that is enough to lay the foundation of the seventh rank of the strongest. Senior Time Sword, it was only before his death that he realized this. It's a pity that the land outside the world, and even the contemporary world, doesn't seem to realize this. Otherwise, there will be no Xian seventh order existence so far. The wind let out a sigh. At the same time, he had returned to Langia Sword Pavilion. In Langia Sword Pavilion, he was just a genius disciple who was gifted in swordsmanship, but had an ordinary talent in law. Because of good luck, he was valued by the deputy pavilion master. He, too, enjoys this identity. Before the punishment comes, it is good to be a little transparent and keep a low profile. Chapter 45-27. However, in this Langia Sword Pavilion, it is estimated that I won't be able to stay for too long. My law of time will soon be perfectly integrated into the swordsmanship. When the law is complete, the punishment of heaven will surely be earth-shattering. It's better to find a place to transcend the calamity. Let's go back to the Azura Hell in the god-defying realm. There are many fierce places in the anti-god realm, including Azura Hell. There are many places that reveal mysteries. It is suspected that they were left behind before the historical partition. When I pass the punishment, the law of time is perfect, the seventh rank of swordsmanship, and then step into the upper gods, I will explore those places. Feng Qingyang had already planned to leave Langia Sword Pavilion and return to the anti-god realm. I don't know. Xiao Tian, how is it now? Thinking of his own disciple Duan Ling Tian, Feng Qingyang couldn't help sighing. His disciple, he has carried too many things in his life. Not like him, alone. After I have passed the punishment, I will enter the realm of high-ranking gods again. As long as I consolidate my cultivation, I will soon usher in the call of the supernatural realm. At that time, as long as I meet the call, I will be able to be promoted directly to super strong. At that time, I may also become a place outside the world, and even the contemporary world, the first existence of the Xuqiang seventh order above the saints. What happened in the end, so that the cultivators after the historical partition have all gone down the wrong path? They stepped into the realm of the high-ranking gods early, they were dissatisfied with the laws, the four worlds were ordinary, and they welcomed the call of the super-powerful realm. If you reject the call of the Xian realm, and wait until their laws and the four realms of heaven and earth are improved, they may not be able to find an opportunity to step into the Xian realm. The wind let out a sigh. Xiao Tian, there is a high probability that he has stepped into the realm of high-ranking gods now. It is a wrong path. However, with his good fortune, even if he takes the wrong path, he may not be as mediocre as those people. The separation of history is really terrifying. It not only separated two eras, but also caused the practitioners of this era to go down the wrong path. Perhaps, it is also because of the abundance of spiritual energy in this era, which enables them to step into the realm of high-ranking gods in various ways in a very short period of time. Before the historical partition, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth did not seem to be very abundant. Many lower-ranking gods and middle-ranking gods have mastered the laws of the Great Perfection realm. There are gains and losses, there are losses and gains. This may be the reincarnation of heaven. The wind sighed softly. If I were to exist at the 7th rank of the Xian, should be able to relieve the imprisonment of the souls of the Soul clan members of the Xian clan for my daughter-in-law, Kir, and forget about Xiaoshan's worries. For him, it must be a big surprise. Now, he still doesn't know where he is in the outer lands. Is he fighting for it? With the cultivation level of the median god, to comprehend the law to the great perfection, and the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level, it is indeed an incredible thing for contemporary people. How many people have stepped into the realm of high-ranking gods with a cultivation base, and the laws have not even comprehended the realm of small perfection, and the 4 realms of heaven and earth may not even have comprehended the prototype. Did they not think to do it? Obviously not. But why do so few people do that? Because of the 1,000-year catastrophe. After the realm of the king, the 1,000-year tribulation will come. If your strength is not improved, the 1,000-year tribulation will be stronger every time. When you are in the middle of the gods, and face the 1,000-year calamity that may make you die, it is to continue to pursue the law of no hope, the 4 realms of heaven and earth, or choose to be promoted to the realm of the upper gods immediately? The answer is obvious. Choose the first way. If you fail, you will die. The second way is steady. And between the historical partitions, after the realm of the king, although there is also a catastrophe. However, the calamity they face is once every 10,000 years, not once in 1,000 years, just like the 10,000-year calamity faced by the supreme powers of this era. This has also led to the fact that cultivators before the historical partition could have enough time to comprehend the 4 realms of heaven and earth, as well as the profound meaning of laws. In contemporary times, there are only 2 ways to become the 8th-tier Xian. The first way is to be like the wind, with extraordinary talent, and the way of Kendo against the sky. Before the upper gods, cultivate the way of Kendo to the 7th rank. Then, try to integrate the laws you are good at into Kendo, integrate with Kendo, and go hand in hand. Of course, if you only rely on Feng Qingyang yourself and want to completely integrate the laws that you are good at into Kendo, there will be no progress until you first come. The reason why he entered the realm so quickly was because he obtained the inheritance left by the Sword of Time, which made him take a lot less detours on the road of integrating the law of time into Kendo. Otherwise, when the 1,000-year calamity that can threaten him arrives, he may not be able to approach the last step, let alone take the last step. Just as Feng Qingyang thought, as long as he is in the realm of the median and fully integrates the law of time into swordsmanship, the law of time can be promoted to the realm of great perfection in one fell swoop. At that time, there will also be divine punishment for those who gather the great perfection law and the 7th order heaven and earth as one. Because Feng Qingyang is only a middle-ranking god, the punishment he will face is a god-rank punishment. With his strength, there is almost no danger to pass through. And once it passes, he can be promoted to the realm of the upper gods. When you reach the upper gods, you can also sense the exchange of the supreme realm normally, and you can directly be promoted to the strong. Instead of rejecting the call of the strongest, like his disciple Duan Lingtian, he continued to study the law, continued to study the swordsmanship, and went down the wrong path. Historical break. It can be said that it is not only history that has been broken, but also the 7th order road to the top of the cultivators in this world. Duan Lingtian, of course, did not know, his master has already touched the threshold of the 8th rank of Xian. Now he is in the place of return to the ruins left by the Xian 7th order existence before the historical partition where Bibo Tianfu was looking for someone to enter, and is shrouded by the huge sword beam power that descended from the sky. The figures in front of him were all crushed, turned into powder, and died. When that power came to him, he thought that he would die too. However, what he didn't expect was that after that force enveloped his body, it did not continue to press down. At the same time, a surprised old voice resounded and echoed in his ears. Kendo has reached the threshold of the seventh order? You are also good at the laws of space? Haha. After waiting for so many years, it's finally here. Chapter 45-28. The voice coming from his ear made Duan Lingshan's heart tremble. In this place of return to the ruins, who can still have such terrifying strength, except for those who left this place of return to the ruins, who were the strong men above the seventh rank before the historical partition? Here, there is no way for the strongest to come in. And if it is not the strongest, the strength is at most comparable to him. How can he imprison his body? And the sound comes, making his soul seem to tremble. It's not in vain that I tried my last effort to reopen the market. I didn't expect that the person I wanted to wait for finally came. The age is also in line with, and can even be said to be perfect. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian looked confused, and a subconscious thought was, this old guy wouldn't want to take him away? It's not that he has never encountered the scene of taking a house, and even just a few days from the Earth's mundane plane and crossed to the sanctuary plane, he was almost taken away by the reincarnation martial emperor. It's just that at that time, because of the restrictions between the worldly planes, the other party couldn't help his soul. And now, this old man is obviously a super strong man before the historical partition. If he wants to take away himself, I am afraid that there are no rules that can restrict him, right? The way of heaven is not benevolent, and it treats all things as cud dogs. I have no space for the old man, but I don't believe in evil. If I don't believe it, I can't break your bullshit. I'm already powerless, but I can train a descendant. Back then, before heaven and earth were destroyed and returned to chaos, although I and them were enclosed in their own ruins, my choice was different from theirs. They choose to leave some of their own things behind before they die, so that there can be traces of them after the world reopens. As for me, I chose to seal my memories, leaving nothing behind, and even let all the valuable treasures, even power, be smashed and integrated into my return to the ruins, so that my return to the ruins could be opened 3 times in succession. Today, I finally met someone who meets my requirements. Tian Dao, I'm curious, will you be able to force me to a desperate situation in the future, and force my descendants to a desperate situation? My heirs will definitely be better than blue. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. When one after another, loud laughter echoed in Duan Lingshan's ears. Soon, he lost consciousness. When he woke up again, I found that I had appeared in a simple-looking stone house. Where is this? What happened? In the stone house, there are beds and tables. Spotless. Suddenly, Duan Lingshan's expression changed, and he covered his head with his hands. At this moment, he finally remembered what happened before he fell into a coma. That old age seemed to have a hysterical voice. Even at this time, there was a huge memory, like an endless ocean, pouring into Duan Lingshan's original memory that was like a river. In an instant, Duan Lingtian only felt a splitting headache. This feeling lasted for a while before it stabilized. This is... Duan Lingshan's pupils glared round in the next instant. This is the strong man who called himself the old man without space before the historical partition, the strong man who left this place of return to the ruins, the strong man who has been scolding the way of heaven, the memory left behind? Old man Wukong, Xian 9th rank powerhouse. Kendo, 9th order. The way of control, the 8th order. The way of infinite, the 8th order. The laws of space, great perfection. The law of death, great perfection. The law of life, great perfection. After reading through the memory, Duan Lingtian was very knowledgeable, but he couldn't help but take a deep breath. Is the strong man before the historical partition so perverted? Wrong. As the reading memory deepened, Duan Lingtian also knew that even before the historical partition, not everyone was as powerful and defying as the Wukong old man. The old man Wukong was a super strong man before the historical partition, a top strong man. In that era, there were very few people who could compare with him. If it weren't for the thought of heaven, the world would be destroyed and return to chaos. When he cultivates both the way of control and the way of infinite to the ninth order, he may be expected to compete with the way of heaven. These are also learned from the memory of the empty old man. As Duan Lingtian continued to read the memories of the Wukong old man in depth, he had to continue to sigh that this old man was powerful and terrifying. It's gotten to that point. The strength is so powerful that heavenly Tao trembles. In the 10,000 years of catastrophe that followed, he was so beaten that he would not dare to come again. The 10,000 years tribulation is also a means of heavenly Tao to maintain the order of heaven and earth. Non-heavenly Tao directly shot, so even the strongest 10,000 years tribulation is not as good as heavenly Tao's direct shot. However, the way of heaven seems to be limited and cannot directly deal with someone. It can only be restricted by setting rules. As for the more specific, the old man Wukong himself doesn't seem to know very well. However, when Duan Lingtian read the Wukong old man's comprehension of swordsmanship and the comprehension of the laws of space, his eyes could not help but light up. His kendo is a kendo that perfectly integrates the laws of space. As long as I can fully digest and understand his understanding of space swordsmanship, my space laws will be able to step into the realm of great perfection in the shortest possible time. Space kendo can also be further improved. This time, I really made a lot of money. Of course, Duan Lingtian also learned from the memory of the empty old man. This place of return to the ruins of the Wukong old man has been opened 3 times, and the place of return to the ruins left by people before the general historical partition has been opened once and basically disappeared. Different from those people, the old man Wukong is determined to find a successor, inherit his memory, embark on a road that surpasses him, contend with the way of heaven, and even oppose the way of heaven. Do it for real. But, what's the matter? In the memory of the old man Wukong, in the era before the historical partition, the existence of the king above the gods, although they will also face the catastrophe, but it is the catastrophe of 10,000 years. Also, if you want to step into the 7th rank of Xian, you must basically understand the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th rank before stepping into the realm of the upper gods, and the laws are perfect. Because, when the great perfection of the law and the 7th order of the heavenly Tao appear on a person at the same time, they will usher in the heavenly punishment from the heavenly Tao. The heavenly punishment will appear for the cultivation base. The kind of heavenly punishment for the cultivation of the strongest, even before the historical partition, no one can successfully pass through it. The kind of heavenly punishment of the cultivation base of the upper gods, only a few extremely talented evildoers can survive. Among them, this old man without space is included. He is the kind of heavenly punishment he passed when he was a high-ranking god, and he passed it easily. Most people, when they were in the realm of the middle gods, passed that kind of heavenly punishment and laid the foundation of the 7th rank of Xian, so that they could respond to the state of Xian soon after they became the upper gods. The call of Xian's 7th order. Chapter 45-29, The Era Controlled by the Tao of Heaven. Wrong. It's all wrong. It took a long, long time. After reading through the memories of the Wukong old man, Duan Lingtian sighed in his heart. He knew that after the historical separation, the outside world, and even the practitioners of all realms, had gone the wrong way. Before entering the realm of the upper gods, one should first comprehend the law to the realm of great perfection, and then comprehend one of the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level. In this case, after passing the punishment, step into the realm of the upper gods, and after sensing the call of the realm of the strongest, respond to it and step directly into the realm of the superpower. In this way, as soon as you enter the Xian, it is the existence of the seventh order of Xian. Xian seventh order, what is that concept? Even the most powerful saints in the world outside the world, and even the practitioners of the world, are the Jiezuan realm powerhouse, which is only the sixth rank of the strongest. Wrong. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian thought of one more thing: contemporary cultivators, after stepping into the realm of the God King, will face the test of a 1,000-year-old catastrophe. Before the historical partition, according to the memory of the Wukong old man, it was only once every 10,000 years that he had to face a catastrophe. Also, look at the calamity faced by the Wukong old man. Every interval, the power is limited, and it should be equivalent to the power of the two contemporary robbery intervals. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian took a deep breath. He has already vaguely guessed something. Has the rules of heaven and earth changed? Did heaven do it? Apart from this possibility, Duan Lingtian could never think of the second possibility. Combining the memory of the old man Wukong, and synthesizing the current situation, he also faintly felt that the invisible hand of Tiandao seems to be controlling this era, making it difficult for this era to give birth to the existence of the seventh order Xian. Perhaps it's because there are old people like Wukong who can threaten the existence of heavenly Tao between the historical partitions? So, for the cultivators who appeared after the historical separation this time, he treated them as piglets and kept them in captivity, preventing them from stepping above the seventh rank of the Xian, threatening its strength? Although, this metaphor is somewhat sad for all contemporary practitioners, including saints. But, it seems to be the truth. Indisputable fact. In this era, even if you know that there are such restrictions, there are still a few people who can successfully master the laws of the Great Perfection realm and the seventh order heaven and earth realm in the realm of the Median God. The catastrophe once in 1,000 years, that's no joke. Before stepping into the strongest, before history was cut off, the robbery was once every 10,000 years. After the history is cut off, the robbery comes once every 1,000 years. Even if there are some middle-ranked gods, they have the intention to comprehend the law to the great perfection before stepping into the realm of the upper gods, and the four ways of heaven and earth can reach the seventh level. Once the catastrophe that threatens their lives arrives, will they choose to die, or choose to simply become a superior and shatter the catastrophe? The answer is obvious. No wonder this Wukong old man said, "The way of heaven is not benevolent, and it treats all things as cud dogs." Isn't that so? Duan Lingtian sighed, and there was a bit of happiness in his eyes. Fortunately, I haven't stepped into the Xian realm. Otherwise, in this life, it will be difficult to step into the seventh order of Xian. Even before the historical partition, there was no Xian who stepped into the seventh order of Xian from below the seventh order of Xian. Even if they comprehend the law to the great perfection at the sixth level of the Xian, and comprehend the four realms of heaven and earth to the seventh level, the punishment they are waiting for will kill them. The upper gods, although facing that kind of punishment, it is still a 9-death life. But, after all, there is a chance. Moreover, I have now integrated the memories of the old man Wukong. Even if I face that kind of punishment in the future, I can be considered experienced, and it will definitely not be more difficult than when the old man Wukong faced that kind of punishment. In addition, thinking of the achievements of the old man Wukong in his life, his eyes are full of heat. He used a shocking method to perfectly preserve his memory, including his various understandings of swordsmanship and even the profound meaning of laws. As long as you give me time, I can completely digest this information and have his achievements in swordsmanship and the profound meaning of law before his death. At this moment, Duan Lingshan's heart couldn't help but be restless. The previous achievements of the empty old man, Kendo, 9th order. The way of control, the 8th order. The way of infinity, the 8th order. The laws of space, the laws of death, and the laws of life have all stepped into the realm of great perfection. There are 4 ways of heaven and earth, there are only 4 in total. Except for the way of devouring, he actually realized all of them to this level. No wonder even heavenly Tao is afraid of him. Moreover, according to the memory of the old man Wukong, the reason why he was able to have the strength of the 9th rank of Xian before his death was because he comprehended the law of life and the law of death at the same time to the realm of great perfection, and penetrated life and death. In addition to the achievements in the field of the way of control and the way of infinite, we are able to have the strength of the 9th rank of the strongest. According to his inference, if he comprehends either the way of control or the way of infinite to the 9th order, his strength will be enough to go further and reach the peak of the 9th order of the strongest. If both step into the 9th order, his strength will be on par with heaven. At that time, even if the Tao of heaven shatters the heavens and the earth, returns everything in the world to chaos, and cuts off history, it won't affect him. Duan Lingtian was inexplicably shocked. Wukong old man, too powerful. How could there be such a powerful person in the world? Moreover, it is such an incomparably powerful character, who is still forced by heaven to escape into the land of return to the ruins before the historical partition, leaving a lifetime of memories. The purpose of his doing this is to cultivate a successor who can compete with heavenly Tao. The first two returned to the market opened, and there were outstanding people, but he didn't like it. This time, he saw me. Of course, according to his memory, in fact, his most ideal successor is the kind of person who comprehends Kendo to the 7th level, and even comprehends the law of space, the law of life or the law of death to the realm of great perfection. But, he has no chance. So, choose me. In his eyes, I'm barely qualified to be his successor. Duan Lingtian shook his head. In this era of heaven's restrictions, it is estimated that it is difficult to find a person who can comprehend Kendo to the 7th level at the same time, and comprehend one of the 3 laws of space law, life law and death law to the realm of great perfection. His master was gentle, and the swordsmanship should have stepped into the 7th order. However, in terms of rules, it does not meet the requirements of the empty old man. If you are not good at the law of space, the law of life and the law of death, it will be a very long process to digest the memory of the Wukong old man and make it his own. He must find a suitable successor. Duan Lingtian sighed. He knew that the opportunity he got this time might become the biggest chance he had ever had in his life. In the future, even if there are still some opportunities, it is definitely impossible to surpass this one. Lifetime memory of the super strong standing at the peak before the historical partition. What other chance can be compared with it? The rest of the time, just stay in the land of return to the ruins to digest his memory. As soon as possible, let my space law be perfectly integrated into the swordsmanship, and let the swordsmanship become the space swordsmanship. Because, according to the memory of the old man Wukong, in his land of return to the ruins, the valuable things were all broken by him and integrated into the land of return to the ruins, consolidating the land of return to the ruins. In this way, there is no need for him to waste time looking for anything. Even now, he can clearly know all the mysteries of this place of return to the ruins. But, it doesn't make any sense. There was nothing worth taking for him. Miss Wei. At this moment, Duan Lingtian suddenly thought of the Night Mid-Saint from the Duan clan in the Tourmaline holy city before coming to this place of return to the ruins this time. In his eyes, raging anger ignited. Perhaps, it won't take long. I will be able to avenge you. Duan Yuwei's death, he always felt that there was a large part of his own reasons. If he hadn't asked Duan Yuwei to return to the God-defying realm with him, when he returned from the God-defying realm, he would not have appeared in that area and would not have been targeted by Duan Yuwei's enemies. Chapter 45-30, for the rest of the time. Duan Lingtian didn't go anywhere, just stayed where he was, reading the memories left by the old man Wukong. Although the memory of the Wukong old man is complete, it is perfectly integrated into his memory and becomes a part of his memory, which can be consulted in a single thought. However, the Wukong old man's perception of the 4 ways of heaven and earth and the profound meaning of the law cannot be inherited by mere memory. also needs to be digested. However, after all, even the memory is there, and the speed of digestion is naturally fast. Nearly a year has passed. Duan Lingtian also stopped. The moment he opened his eyes, Duan Lingshan's eyes were filled with a few sword lights, and after a while, they disappeared. There was also a smile on his face. Although the time is still short. But, my space law, obviously the entry is extremely fast. It feels like a year or two at most. My space law can be perfectly integrated into the swordsmanship, and then step into the realm of great perfection. Old Wukong was the best at space swordsmanship. It's his name, with the word empty. At this time, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but remember that before he came in, the master of the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace invited him to enter the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace and gave him the name of Void Sword. No space, void. Maybe, this is fate. Duan Lingtian said secretly. Now, it's almost time to go out. Thinking of this, Duan Lingshan's thoughts moved. He left the place, went outside, found an exit nearby, and went straight out. While going out, he suddenly thought of something. Then Yao Xingchen. Shouldn't he be killed by that Yao Tianchen? Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. Since he got the memory of the Wukong old man, he has no longer wandered in this place of return to the ruins, and went to comprehend the laws of space and swordsmanship. However, the mortality rate this time is estimated to be not small. Duan Lingtian thought about the big movement made by the old man Wukong before he got the memory of the old man Wukong. Many people died at that time, including an invincible superior god. The invincible high-ranking named Zhengbin, who is good at the laws of the earth system. Fortunately, I barely met the requirements of the Wukong old man. Otherwise, would have died at his hands. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel fortunate. When Duan Lingtian came out through the exit, but in an instant, I sensed a few breaths coming. It is the few Bibo Tianfu supreme powerhouses headed by Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace, and there are a few figures not far away that quickly galloped towards this side. However, at this moment, the faces of several people are particularly solemn. Someone came out? Palace Master Xiao, is this someone who just came out? To Duan Lingtian, the few people who came over were unfamiliar faces, but it was certain that all of them were superpowers. He is a disciple of the Golden Dragon Palace that I newly invited to Bibo Tianfu. Look, the Void Sword Duan Lingtian. Xiao Tianxi introduced Duan Lingtian, then looked at Duan Lingtian, and asked in front of the others, Duan Lingtian, what happened inside? Why are so many people dead? Hearing Xiao Tianxi's words, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. Yes. The last time the Wukong old man took action, so many people died, and it was impossible to find nothing outside. After all, most of the group of people who went in with him were disciples of Bibo Tianfu. If they died inside, the soul beads and soul cards of Bibo Tianfu would definitely shatter. Duan Lingtian came back to his senses and shook his head. Palace Master, I'm not too sure. However, when I was inside, I did hear a loud noise coming from afar. Later, I went to investigate, but found a large area of the area is shrouded by a mysterious force, and there is no way to enter. The power Duan Lingtian said was exactly the power that the Wukong old man left behind in the land of returning ruins. In fact, that is also the power of the land of ruins. It's just that the place where the old man Wukong shot was circled in, so that other people in the land of return to the ruins could not spy on everything inside. And he came from that place. There should be a lot of people who know this too. When they come out, you can just ask them, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian said. At this moment, those few faces couldn't help but ask, Duan Lingtian, before and after that power appeared, what abnormality can you detect? Duan Lingtian, have you checked that place carefully? Duan Lingtian. These few people's faces are not very good looking now, and between words, they asked Duan Lingtian about various things in the land of returning to the ruins. Just when Duan Lingtian didn't know who to answer first, Xiao Tianci spoke up, "Okay, everyone, even if you want to ask, you should ask them one by one. Now that you are asking all these questions, how should Duan Lingtian answer? And, if I want to say, if you really want to ask, it's best to wait for the rest of the people to come out before asking. We Bibo Tianfu disciples, there are still many people who have survived. For example, Yao Xingchen and others. So far, the news that Bibo Tianfu has given me is that their soul beads and soul cards have not been broken. Still alive." Following Xiao Tiancis opening, several people became quiet. At this time, Xiao Tiancis voice transmission came from Duan Lingshan's ear. All of them have disciples who have entered the land of return to the ruins, and they are all dead. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian was stunned, and finally understood why these people looked ugly. It turned out that their disciples all died inside. Next, in the face of these people's questions one by one, Duan Lingtian also answered one by one, and the answers were watertight. In the end, everyone was disappointed. This Duan Lingtian cannot provide him with anything of value. Duan Lingtian. A superpower behind Xiao Tianci, after seeing Duan Lingtian idle, immediately stepped forward and took the ring from Duan Lingshan's hand. And the divine consciousness swept through, probed Duan Lingtian, and after confirming that there was nothing hidden in Duan Lingtian, he also returned Duan Lingshan's own ring to him. At this time, Xiao Tianci asked Duan Lingtian, "I have already greeted someone and asked him to come pick you up and go back to Bibo Tianfu to go through the formalities for entering the palace. You go back with him later. He is also a disciple of the Golden Dragon Palace, the fourth disciple of my family." Xiao Tianci said. "It is good." Hearing Xiao Tiancis words, Duan Lingshan's eyes lit up. After all, those people in the land of return to the ruins will probably only come out in 10 days, so it doesn't make much sense to wait here. At the same time, he has always had some yearning for Bibo Tianfu. After all, this is a force with strong saints. Saint. It's also a poor man. Thinking of the memory of the Wukong old man, Duan Lingtian sighed in his heart. He knows that all saints in the world outside the world, and even the 10,000 worlds, will never have the opportunity to step into the 7th rank of Xian, and they will only die under the 10,000-year catastrophe that is stronger than one time. Chapter 45-31. However, no matter how pitiful the saint is, killing me now is just a matter of snapping your fingers. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian laughed at himself. Now that he, let alone stepping into the realm of the strongest, has not even comprehended the realm of great perfection, how can he be qualified to talk about the saint? Moreover, if he met the saint now, he could not wait to ask the other party to take action and release the imprisonment of the soul originating from the Soul clan for his wife Kir. Soon, the fourth disciple under his sect that Xiao Tianci said came. It was a young man in a blue robe, with a resolute appearance and angry eyes. After he came over, he hurriedly saluted Xiao Tianci, "Kui, I have seen Master." He was the fourth disciple of Xiao Tianci, Kui. It is also one of the only 2 disciples under Xiao Tiancis family who have not stepped into the realm of the strongest. "Kui, I told you everything in the subpoena. You bring Duan Lingtian back to the mansion to go through the formalities for entering the mansion. From now on, he will be our Golden Dragon Hall disciple." Xiao Tianci said to Kui. "Yes, Master." After Kui responded, he looked at Duan Lingtian beside him, and said enthusiastically, "Hello, I'm Kui. I'll take you back to the mansion to go through the formalities." "It is good." Duan Lingtian responded and followed Kui away. Away from Xiao Tianci, and after confirming that Xiao Tianci could no longer hear his words, Kui looked at Duan Lingtian enviously. "Brother Lingtian, you are the first non-superpower in our Golden Dragon Hall to be honored by the gods. The one who gave the name. Void Sword. Awesome. Duan Ling Tian was startled. Isn't this title a name other than a name? Why should you care so much? Kui stared. Brother Ling Tian, you don't know. Among the various halls in the Bibo Tianfu, only the palace guardian disciple with the highest status among the hall disciples has his own name, right? Furthermore, this title cannot be taken by oneself. It must be bestowed by the master of a hall. This point, even the palace master of our Bibo Tianfu can't intervene. The Golden Dragon Hall is the master's private plot. Although it also belongs to Bibo Tianfu, it has enough autonomy. Moreover, our Golden Dragon Hall is the top 3 temples among the 16 halls in Bibo Tianfu. Following Kui's words, Duan Ling Tian also gained a further understanding of Bibo Tianfu. In the past, he only knew that Bibo Tianfu was the strength of saints, and there were saints in charge. But now, Kui told him that in the Bibo Tianfu, in addition to the normal disciples of the outer palace and the inner palace, there were also 16 temples. The temple called Bibo Temple that the current palace master of Bibo Tianfu is also in charge of, is the temple of the current palace master of Bibo Tianfu, but it is not the strongest. Like the Golden Dragon Palace, it only ranks in the top 3. The strongest hall is the one where the sage of Bibo Tianfu is located, called the Tianshui Hall. However, it is not the saint who is the master of the Tianshui Temple. That saint is just the previous generation of the temple master of Tianshui Temple, and the current temple master of Tianshui Temple is his eldest disciple and a powerful semi-sacred powerhouse. In Bibo Tianfu, Tianshui Hall, Bibo Hall and Golden Dragon Hall are the top 3 halls. Before, in our Bibo Tianfu, only Tianshui Hall and Bibo Hall had invincible superior gods. Now, with your participation, our Golden Dragon Palace finally has an invincible superior god. Don't look at the seriousness of the master. Even when he mentioned you to me, he also revealed a lot of surprise. Obviously, he didn't expect you to become an invincible high-ranking soon after he invited you into the Golden Dragon Palace. Duan Ling Tian was invited by Xiao Tianxi first. Later, Xiao Tianxi brought him into the small world inside his body. In addition, Xiao Tianxi also asked the old man beside him to help him understand the laws of space, and in the discussion with the old man, he touched the threshold of the 7th rank of Kendo, and only had the strength of an invincible superior god. I asked Shizhuan why he didn't accept you as his 6th disciple. Shizhuan said that he is not worthy of being your teacher. Now, there are a total of 5 people under the master's sect. There are 2 senior brothers and 1 senior sister above me, all of whom have stepped into the realm of the strongest, and the weakest is also the 3rd rank of the strongest. My strength is estimated to be comparable to that before your breakthrough and achievement of the invincible upper god. The little junior brother behind me is a little weaker than me. However, I think his talent is better than mine, and it will be a matter of time before he catches up with me. Kui is very talkative. Duan Ling Tian was on the way to Bibo Tianfu with him, and before he entered Bibo Tianfu, he basically knew the situation inside Bibo Tianfu and the situation inside the Golden Dragon Palace. However, after actually entering the Bibo Tianfu station, Duan Ling Tian was still shocked by the scene in front of him. The Bibo Tianfu station is not so much a station, but rather a boundless space that is located outside the boundary, but independent of the boundary. The resident of Bibo Tianfu has always been located in the small world of the saint's body. However, I suspect that the small world in the body of the saint where Bibo Tianfu resides is not the small world in the body of the saint in the Tianshui temple. Kui's words were said to Duan Ling Tian by the sound transmission. Why? Duan Ling Tian was puzzled and asked through voice transmission. Because, many years ago, the master and the master of the Tianshui temple fought a real fire. In the end, the saint behind the Tianshui temple also came out to persuade him, but I feel that his power seems to be suppressed. It's like a superpower, the feeling of entering a small world in another superpower. Of course, I don't know if it's my illusion. At the beginning, I was also there. When everyone's attention was on the saint, I was also observing him, and I obviously felt this way. It was also that I realized the third order of the infinite way at the time. If I see him again now, I may be able to further confirm whether Bibo Tianfu resides in a small world within his body. Koi said. The infinite way? Hearing Kui's words, Duan Lingshan's eyes flickered a few times. He seldom encountered practitioners who mastered the way of infinite. However, in the memory of the Wukong old man he recently got, there is the understanding of the infinite way of the eighth order. However, he has not even absorbed the ninth order kendo in the memory of Wukong old man, so it is naturally impossible to absorb that part of the understanding of the infinite way. If Bibo Tianfu is not stationed in the small world inside the body of the saint of Tianshui Temple. Duan Lingtian raised his brows, doesn't that mean? Bibo Tianfu, there is a second saint. Kui took over and said. Second saint. Duan Lingtian couldn't help but tremble in his heart. Chapter 45-32. Bibo Tianfu, what does it mean if there is a second saint? It means that even in the power of saints, Bibo Tianfu is an extremely powerful existence. Duan Lingtian was surprised by Kui's guess, but he couldn't help but become active, thinking about how to find an opportunity to meet one of the saints in Bibo Tianfu and ask them to help his wife get rid of the imprisoned soul. Duan Lingtian followed Kui, and quickly went through the formalities for entering the palace and became a member of the Golden Dragon Palace, in Bibo Tianfu. A temple guard disciple. And in the Golden Dragon Hall, he is a disciple of the temple guard who is not the strongest. If he became a disciple of the temple guardian before he became the invincible superior god, he would definitely cause gossip. Because, among the 16 temples of Bibo Tianfu, the top 3 temples, it has always been the practice, are those who are not invincible high-ranking gods and the most powerful people above the 3rd rank, and cannot become temple guardian disciples. Little junior brother, this is the void sword that you wanted to meet earlier. Not long after arriving at the Golden Dragon Hall, Kui just helped Duan Lingtian arrange a place to live, that is, the place to practice, when a figure came uninvited, Kui at the door. You can let the other party in after getting Duan Lingshan's permission. Senior brother Lingtian, this is my younger brother and the 5th disciple of the master's disciple, Huangfu Ping. After completing the formalities with Duan Lingtian became a disciple of Bibo Tianfu and a disciple of the guardian of the Golden Dragon Palace, and Kui's address to him also changed from Brother Lingtian to Senior Brother Lingtian. But he was a handsome young man with a bit of arrogance between his brows. He entered the door and looked up and down. Duan Lingtian, you are Duan Lingtian, the law that the master said is not yet complete, but has the strength of the invincible superior god. I want to see your methods, but I don't know. Would it be convenient for you to discuss with me? I have never seen a person who has not comprehended the law to the realm of great perfection, and has become an invincible superior god. Huangfu Ping's eyes shone brightly, as if seeing the heart of a hunter. Little junior brother. On the other hand, Kui frowned and scolded, don't be rude. Senior brother Lingtian, don't pay attention to him. Kui said in a row, and at the same time did not forget to give Huangfu Ping a fierce look. It's okay. Facing Huangfu Ping, who was staring at him with scrutiny, Duan Lingtian smiled slyly. It is not difficult for him to guess the other party's mind, and most likely he feels that he cannot understand the invincible upper gods who have not comprehended the law to the realm of great perfection. After all, the invincible superior gods in the world are basically the invincible superior gods who rely on the laws of the great perfection realm. Wanting to rely on other means to become an invincible high-ranking is difficult and difficult. Say nothing else, it is said that touching the threshold of the 7th order heaven and earth and the 4 realms, even if it is a saint, few people can achieve this step. Where are we chatting? Duan Lingtian looked at Huangfu Ping and asked bluntly. What? Duan Lingshan's directness was straightforward, but Huang Fuping was stunned. He didn't expect Duan Lingtian to be so refreshing. No need to set a date? Huang Fuping asked subconsciously. Duan Lingtian laughed dumbly. It's just a discussion, you don't need to be so troublesome. Now, I can discuss with you, you can just find a place. Huang Fuping heard the words, came back to his senses, and gave Duan Lingtian a deep look. It seems that you are very confident in your own strength. In that case, let's go to the dual space of our Golden Dragon Palace. Huang Fuping said. Dual space? Hearing Huang Fuping's words, Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment. At this time, Kui explained to him, Senior brother Lingtian, the dual space is actually the small world inside the body of the Hall Master of our Golden Dragon Halls, Yanwu Hall. The more powerful disciples in the Golden Dragon Palace compete and duel, all in the small world inside his body. In this way, you can also avoid damaging anything in the duel. After being reminded like this, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized, so it is. Let's go. Huang Fuping was also delighted to see the hunter, and wanted to see the special features of this genius who even his master praised. Duan Lingtian smiled and followed. Senior brother Lingtian. At this time, Kui's voice transmission came from Duan Lingshan's ear, my little junior brother, I'm used to being proud, but a great god like you suddenly came to the Golden Dragon Palace, so I was a little unconvinced. You don't have to keep your hands later, teach him a good lesson, so that he knows that there are days outside the sky, and there are people outside people. In the Bibo Tianfu, the 16 temples, and in a certain city government, they are all independent entities. In each temple, there are martial arts hall, law enforcement hall, internal affairs hall, etc. Duan Lingtian followed Huang Fuping all the way to the Yanwu Hall. When they arrived, at the gate of Yanwu Hall, a lot of people had gathered, and they were looking forward to the direction they came from. You still called so many people? Kui frowned, looked at Huang Fuping, and said, aren't you afraid of being too embarrassed to wait? Hey. Huang Fuping smiled, fourth senior brother, you know that I always like to be lively. The people who come here are all our disciples from the Golden Dragon Palace. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you lose. You can find your way back later. I'm afraid you won't be able to find a place in the future. Kui was angry. He heard from his master that Duan Lingtian was not even half of his younger brother's age. What is this concept? Fourth senior brother, are you so disrespectful of me? The smile on Huang Fuping's face converged and he frowned. Forget it, I'll tell you after you've been abused by senior brother Lingtian. Kui shook his head, he didn't plan to tell him this now. Duan Lingtian, please. Huang Fuping greeted Duan Lingtian, and then entered the Yanwu Hall first. Before going in, he did not forget to introduce to a group of disciples of the Golden Dragon Hall outside, this one, the object of my discussion today is the powerhouse who was given the title of Void Sword by my master, the disciple of the Temple Guard, Duan Lingtian. It is said that he is an invincible upper who has not yet entered the realm of great perfection. Kendo, I have reached the threshold of the 7th floor. As soon as these words came out, a group of disciples of the Golden Dragon Palace were immediately stunned. The law did not step into the great perfection, is it the invincible upper god? In the history of their Bibo Tianfu, does it seem that there has never been such an existence? The law has not entered the great perfection, can it really have the strength of the invincible upper god? Many people have raised such doubts. Is there such strength? After watching him and junior brother Huang Fuping, we will know. If it is not for the invincible superior god, it would be difficult to defeat junior brother Huang Fuping within 100 strokes. Yeah. Even senior brother Kui, who was the strongest under the former supreme powerhouse in our Golden Dragon Palace, would not be able to defeat senior brother Huang Fuping within 100 strokes. Chapter 45-33. The head of the Yanwu Hall was an old man with a childlike appearance in a dress that resembled a Taoist robe. After Huang Fu Ping arrived and explained his purpose, he couldn't help frowning and persuaded, "Boy Ping, I advise you not to try to compete with that void sword. You are not his opponent." Not long ago, the Hall Master of their Golden Dragon Hall had already sent a message to all the Hall Masters, including him, about the new disciple Duan Lingtian of their Golden Dragon Hall. They also realized Duan Lingshan's extraordinariness. This temple guardian disciple who was given the title of Void Sword by their temple master is an invincible superior god. Master you, it's just a discussion. I'm just curious, how strong is the genius younger than me in the mouth of master? Huang Fuping said. And hearing Huang Fuping's words, Yuxinia, the head of the Yanwu Hall of the Golden Dragon Palace, finally knew why this little disciple of the head of the palace wanted to discuss with Duan Lingtian. After all, he didn't want to believe that such a genius monster existed. At the same time, Kui also came in with Duan Lingtian. Kui, however, didn't know that his master had also informed his younger junior brother Huang Fu Ping that Duan Lingtian was younger than him, and also asked Huang Fu Ping to learn from Duan Lingtian. How can Huang Fu Ping, who is usually arrogant, accept this? Seeing is believing. He still wanted to feel for himself whether the genius in his master's mouth was really as enchanting and unparalleled as his master said. Master you, this is the new disciple of our Golden Dragon Palace's guardian, the Void Sword Duan Lingtian. After Kui came in, he greeted Yuxinia with a smile. Then, he said to Duan Lingtian, "Senior brother Lingtian, this is the head of Yuxinia Yu, the head of our Golden Dragon Hall's Yanwu Hall, and one of the 4th-tier Xions in our Golden Dragon Hall. Xion 4th Order." After hearing Kui's words, Duan Lingtian took a serious look at the old man in front of him. You must know that the 4th Order Xion is also the 1st order closest to the semi-holy. Stepping into the 5th step is a semi-holy. Duan Lingtian, I have seen Hall Master you. Duan Lingtian greeted Yuxinia with a smile, which made Yuxinia a little surprised. He thought that all geniuses were as arrogant as Huang Fu Ping, but the one in front of him was obviously different. Perhaps, this is the reason why he can achieve such achievements at this age. While Yuxinia secretly said, he greeted Duan Lingtian with a smile, "Brother Lingtian is very talented, the Hall Master is very optimistic about you. If you don't want to argue with him in this competition, you can refuse." As Yuxinia said that, he glanced at Huang Fu Ping who was on the side. However, before Duan Lingtian could speak, Huang Fuping glared at him and said, "Senior you, he has already agreed, what are you still doing here?" Yuxinia glanced at Huang Fuping speechlessly. He just wanted to help Huang Fu Ping. But now, Huang Fuping is obviously not appreciative. He didn't say any more. "Palace Master you, it is said that we will enter your inner body to learn from the small world. Then I will trouble you." Duan Lingtian didn't say much nonsense, and said to Yuxinia with a smile. He is very clear, for a person like Huang Fuping, there is no way to convince him with words, only fists can convince him. No trouble, just a small matter. Then, Yuxinia had a thought, and two invisible forces swept towards Duan Lingtian and Huang Fuping. "You two, don't deal with resistance, I will now put you into the dual space specially opened up in the small world of my body." Almost when Yuzini's voice fell, the figures of Duan Lingtian and Huang Fuping disappeared. At the same time, in the void in the Yanwu Hall, a mirror image appeared, and it was Duan Lingtian and Huang Fuping who appeared in a barren space. The space they were in was groggy, but there was still light enough to see their faces clearly. At their feet, there is a barren mountain range, endless as far as the eye can see, as if there is no end. Just in time. "Brother Huang Fuping, fight against our newly promoted disciple of the Golden Dragon Palace, the Void Sword. I just received a summons." It was said that this scene was cast over our Golden Dragon Hall. It seems that it was the Yu Hall Master of the Yanwu Hall who wanted to show this battle to the outside world. What? A mirror image of this scene appeared in the sky above our Golden Dragon Hall. Hall Master, do you want this battle to attract the attention of people from all major temples? You must know that when someone enters the dual space to fight, they just put the mirror image into the Yanwu Hall for the disciples of this hall to watch. Few of them put mirror images outside. Unless, the duel is the strongest, or invincible upper god venerable. I almost forgot, our new disciple of the temple guardian is the invincible upper god venerable. I also forgot. According to the practice of our Bibo Tianfu, if one of the dueling people is the strongest or the invincible superior god, the Yanwu Hall will tacitly display the mirror image to the outside world for the major temples to observe. In the Yanwu Hall, a group of disciples of the Golden Dragon Hall were discussing each other. Over the Golden Dragon Hall, the situation was turbulent, and the huge mirror image that suddenly appeared also shocked the quartet, attracting people from other temples to come and watch. Even, the news continued to spread. Soon, more and more people gathered in the sky above the Golden Dragon Palace. Is there a superpower in the Golden Dragon Palace who wants to take action? Impossible. You didn't see that one of the people in the mirror image is the youngest disciple of the head of Shao Hall, Huang Fuping. Could it be that Huang Fuping's current opponent, this unfamiliar face, is that Duan Lingtian? Duan Lingtian? Yes. I heard from my master that the master of the Golden Dragon Palace has just accepted a disciple of the palace guard for the Golden Dragon Palace and given the name Void. Step threshold, the law realizes the invincible superior god venerable in the realm of small perfection. Damn it. Is it true? Kendo touches the 7th order threshold? Even the sage powerhouse of our Bibo Tianfu seems to have not touched the 7th order threshold, right? As more and more people gathered, the news spread further. Soon, many figures appeared in the void around the Golden Dragon Hall, some of the famous people from the major temples, that senior sister Ji Qiushui from Tianshui Temple. Unexpectedly, she's here too. Senior sister Ji Qiushui's strength is not weaker than that of senior brother Ku Yi from our Golden Dragon Hall. I didn't expect that she would come. I remember that what she is good at seems to be not the way of the sword, but the way of the sword, right? There are many similarities between swords and swords, and it is not impossible to find the inspiration of swordsmanship from swordsmanship. At the same time, a group of Golden Dragon Hall disciples in the Golden Dragon Hall successively recognized many more famous disciples from the major temples of Bibo Tianfu. It's senior brother Xuelang. He actually came too. Senior brother Xuelang, the invincible superior of Bibo Hall. Chapter 45-34. There are 2 invincible upper gods in Bibo Tianfu. One of them was the Xuelang of Bibo Hall. Xuelang, like the Ji Qiushui of Tianshui Temple, is a good swordsman. The accomplishments of the 2 in the Tao of the Blade are similar. However, because Xuelang comprehended the profound meaning of the laws of the Great Perfection realm and stepped into the realm of the invincible superior god venerable, his strength is much stronger than Ji Qiushui. However, if Ji Qiushui is good at the profound meaning of the law and can enter the realm of great perfection, it is really hard to say who is stronger and who is weaker. Junior sister Qiushui, you are here too. After Xuelang arrived, he found Ji Qiushui and approached him for a while, greeting him with a smile. Both of them use knives, and they usually have the opportunity to discuss the Tao of the Blade together, but they are fairly familiar. Senior brother Xuelang. When Ji Qiushui saw Xuelang, he also smiled and said hello. I heard from them that the invincible high-ranking gods recruited by the Golden Dragon Palace this time are going to take action, so I will join in the fun. Brother Xuelang is also here for him, right? Facing Ji Qiushui's question, Xuelang nodded with a smile. I'm also curious, how this disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall's new guardian, relying on the profound meaning of the law of the realm of small perfection, has the strength comparable to the invincible superior god. In the land outside the realm, and even in the contemporary world, I have never heard of anyone who can possess the strength of an invincible superior while only mastering the profound meaning of the laws of the realm of small perfection. There is such a saying. But, many people say that this is just a conjecture. Hearing Xue Lang's words, Ji Qiushui said with a smile, "Does he have the strength of an invincible high-ranking god? Just take a look and you'll know." Xue Lang nodded. At the same time, Duan Lingtian, who was standing against Huang Fuping in the dual space in the small world inside the body of the head of the Yanwu Hall, Yuxinya, in the Golden Dragon Hall, looked extremely calm. "Duan Lingtian, since it is said that you are the invincible high-ranking god, I will take the shot first, you shouldn't mind, right?" Huang Fuping asked. "Random." Duan Lingtian smiled. Not to mention that Huang Fuping is not an invincible high-ranking god, even if he is not afraid. "It is good." At the same time Huang Fu answered, a spear suddenly appeared in his hand. The spear was about 8 feet long and exuded an intimidating aura. Obviously, it was also a supreme artifact. Whoosh! Huang Fu moved, his body was astonished, he shot out his spear, the spear shot out like a dragon, and the dazzling golden light turned into a long dragon in the blink of an eye, roaring out towards Duan Lingtian. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian did not panic, he didn't even plan to take out the 7 apertures exquisite sword. He stood there, his expression unchanged. At this moment, the divine power in his body was turbulent, one after another, the divine power of the space law was integrated, and he broke out of the body, and at the same time whistled into the void, as if he had disappeared. When Huang Fu Ping came over, Duan Lingtian disappeared in place. Appeared above Huang Fu Ping's head. At the same time, under the watchful eyes of all, in the mirror image that caught his eye, there were all swords, and the overwhelming sword light roared down, making Huang Fuping seem to be trapped in a sea of swords. No matter how he broke free, it would be useless. In the end, submerged by the sea of swords. Disappear. However, at a critical moment, the head of Yanwu Hall, Yuxinya, sent Huang Fuping out of the small world inside his body. Although, he knew that Duan Lingtian would definitely keep his hands at the critical moment. But, even so, Huang Fuping was still injured. Too fast. So fast. Extremely strong. Huang Fuping, in front of him, there is no way to fight back. Golden Dragon Hall, disciples from the major temples of Bibo Tianfu, exclaimed in surprise, looking at the purple figure in the mirrored image that looked like a god. In addition to shock, there was shock in his eyes. "His strength is no weaker than mine." Xue Lang's face became solemn. Sure enough, he has the strength of an invincible superior god. Moreover, his space law has indeed not yet stepped into the realm of great perfection. As for Ji Qiushui, his face was full of horror. Huang Fuping's strength, although not as good as hers, is not much worse. She wanted even Huang Fu Ping to be at least 30 strokes away. And the young man in purple in the mirror image, the new disciple of the guardian of the Golden Dragon Palace, the void sword Duan Lingtian, used only one move to defeat Huang Fu Ping. Terrible. When the outside world is shocked, there was also a dead silence in the Golden Dragon Hall's martial arts hall. A group of Golden Dragon Hall disciples present were a little stunned. They didn't expect that Huang Fuping, an existence that was almost invincible in their eyes, would be defeated by one move. Even Huang Fu Ping, after being sent out, still looked sluggish and his eyes were full of disbelief. Even Ku Yi was a little shocked at this time. Although he knew that Duan Lingtian was strong, he didn't expect it to be so strong. It's definitely stronger than the average invincible high-ranking god venerable. Ku Yi secretly said. At the same time, Duan Lingtian, who was in the small world of Yuxinya, the main body of Yanwu Hall, suddenly closed his eyes and frowned, but he seemed to be feeling something. It was also seeing this scene that Yuxinya was not in a hurry to send Duan Lingtian out. He could see, this Duan Lingtian should have realized something. Suddenly, around Duan Lingshan's body, the sea of swords reappeared, and then disappeared into the void, appears again, disappears again. Appears again, disappears again. After going back and forth dozens of times, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes, and his eyes seemed to be sharper. I really didn't expect that fighting with people would actually speed up my absorption of the memories of the Wukong old man. I feel that the space law is just one step away from entering the realm of great perfection. Once the laws of space step into the realm of great perfection, the swordsmanship will officially step into the seventh order. Thinking of this, Duan Lingshan's heart couldn't help but agitate. Yu Hall Master. At the same time, Duan Lingtian greeted Yuxinya, the master of Yanwu Hall. Before Yuxinya returned to his senses, Duan Lingtian had already said, "I want to challenge the two invincible superior gods in Bibo Hall and Tianshui Hall. But I don't know, how do I need to go through the procedure?" In a word, it attracted everyone's attention. Because Yuxinya had not removed the mirror image of the outside world, Duan Lingshan's words were also heard by the onlookers. For a while, all eyes fell on Xuelang. Hearing this, Xuelang also showed a fierce fighting intent in his eyes. At the same time, before Yuxinya replied to Duan Lingtian, he was the first to speak loudly, and the voice spread all over the Golden Dragon Hall in an instant. "Duan Lingtian, I am the invincible superior of Bibo Hall, Xuelang. If you want to challenge me, you can do it now. I'm just outside the Golden Dragon Palace." Xuelang challenged directly. For a time, the eyes of the surrounding audience lit up one after another. The battle of the invincible superior gods. Just now, Duan Lingshan's strength has made them thoroughly confirm that he is indeed an invincible upper god. Chapter 45-35. Xuelang challenged. Immediately, the crowd of onlookers outside the Golden Dragon Hall were in an uproar. And soon, Duan Lingtian also left the inner world of Yuxinya, the main body of the Golden Dragon Hall, and Yukong flew out of the Golden Dragon Hall and confronted Xuelang. "Duan Lingtian, you just shot, it shouldn't cost anything, right?" Xuelang looked at Duan Lingtian, and the fighting spirit also rose in his eyes. He is one of the two invincible high-ranking gods in Bibo Tianfu. His strength is strong. Looking at the Bibo Tianfu, under the supreme power, only the invincible high-ranking of the Tianshui Temple can shake his wrist. And now, the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu has accepted Duan Lingtian, a temple guardian disciple whose strength is comparable to that of an invincible superior god. He couldn't help but see the joy of hunting. No consumption. Duan Lingtian looked at Xuelang, and Dandan said, "Xuelang, you should know the invincible high-ranking in Tianshui Temple, right?" Xuelang nodded, then asked, "You want to learn from him too? After you and I have finished discussing, if you want to ask him to discuss, I will arrange it for you. If you think about it, he will not refuse the opportunity to learn from you." Xuelang said. "I want to talk to him." Duan Lingtian nodded, then his eyes narrowed suddenly, and he said slowly, "To be precise, I want to learn from the two of you." 1 against 2. 1 against 2. As Duan Lingtian said these words, although the audience gathered more and more, but now they fell into a brief silence. Even Xuelang was stunned. 1 against 2. At this moment, Xuelang even thought that he had heard it wrong. This paragraph of Lingtian said to use 1 against 2, and learn from Brother Xuelang and Brother Han Chen? Is he crazy? With his own strength, challenge the two invincible superior gods to join forces? I haven't heard of the existence outside the world, and even the 10,000 worlds, which exists under the strongest, with such courage. From my point of view, he is just grandstanding. Now, many people have walked out of the Golden Dragon Hall. The head of the Yanwu Hall, Yuxinya, was on the list. Also, Huang Fuping, who was easily defeated by Duan Lingtian just now, and Kui, who brought Duan Lingtian to Bibo Tianfu, both came out. Huang Fu Ping, although he has recognized Duan Lingshan's strength. However, when Duan Lingtian said that he was going to challenge Xue Lang and the invincible superior Han Chen of Tianshui Temple with one enemy, he was still frightened. Transhan said to Kui, "Senior brother, is this Ling Tian crazy? Do you really think you can beat me easily, so you can challenge Xue Lang and Han Chen with 1 against 2 at the same time?" Now, when Kui heard what his junior brother said, it was rare that he didn't refute. He frowned, feeling that something was wrong. Duan Lingtian. Xue Lang finally came back to his senses, and looked at Duan Lingtian again, but also became particularly unkind. "If you want to challenge me and Han Chen to join forces, it's not impossible. Before that, though, it's best to show your strength. Defeat me one-on-one first." From Xue Lang's unkind tone, he could tell that he was really angry. "Can you not be angry?" The dignified and invincible superior god Venerable, the ceiling-like figure under the Bibo Tianfu Supreme Powerhouse, was actually looked down upon by a guy who had just entered Bibo Tianfu and had not yet become the Supreme Powerhouse. Duan Lingtian nodded. He could also see that Xue Lang was unwilling to see the Yellow River, and it seemed that only by defeating him first would he be willing to join forces with another invincible superior in Bibo Tianfu to learn from him. And the reason why he wanted to play against Xue Lang and that Han Chen was because he wanted to further digest the memory Wukong left him by discussing with them. Once the memory is further digested, his space law will go straight to the realm of great perfection. In addition, Kendo will go one step further and officially enter the 7th Order. Duan Lingtian and Xue Lang decided on the post-war. Decided to go to Bibo Hall to fight. In the Bibo Hall, there is a space plane specially used for sparring and competition. It is not a small world in the body of any one person. Duan Lingtian will fight Xue Lang here. And follow Duan Lingtian and Xue Lang to Bibo Hall. Behind, also followed a group of tails. Even that day, the most powerful Ji Qiushui under the invincible superior god Venerable in the Water Palace left the Golden Dragon Palace and returned to the Tianshui Palace to find her senior brother. Han Chen is her senior brother. Senior brother, that Duan Lingtian is too arrogant. He even said that he would fight against you and Xue Lang with one enemy. Ji Qiushui said angrily to the young man in front of him. A young man, wearing a sky-blue robe, with a cold face, short hair and big eyes. At this time, after hearing Ji Qiushui's words, the corner of his mouth could not help but contempt. So arrogant? "I'll go to Bibo Hall with you to see, where did he have the confidence to let out such wild words?" As a person who is as famous as Xue Lang in Bibo Tianfu, his strength is not weaker than Xue Lang's existence, and Han Chen also has his own pride. And now, his pride was obviously trampled underfoot. If Duan Lingtian was discussing with Huang Fu Ping in the Golden Dragon Hall, but it was only a small-scale onlooker. So, now, the battle between him and Xue Lang has shaken the entire Bibo Tianfu. As long as Bibo Tianfu is in the station and has nothing in hand, they are basically rushing towards the Bibo Palace. The one who wants to discuss with Xue Lang is the disciple of the guardian of the Golden Dragon Palace who has just been admitted to the Golden Dragon Palace. Yes. It seems to be called Duan Lingtian. He is a monster who has reached the 7th Order threshold of swordsmanship. Before the law of space is perfect, he has the strength comparable to the invincible superior god. It's really not easy to be given a name by the Hall Master Xiao of the Golden Dragon Palace. It's really not easy, but it's also arrogant. I heard that he also threatened to challenge Xue Lang and Han Chen with 1 against 2 at the same time. So crazy? Xue Lang told him that if he wants to fight 1 against 2, he will be defeated first. Xue Lang is an invincible high-ranking god. Under the supreme power, there is basically no one who can defeat him. That Duan Lingtian is destined to be unable to realize his dream. The Bibo Hall is located. The vast square was full of people. The surrounding void was also filled with a mighty crowd. In front of the audience, in the void above the square, a mirror image appeared in front of everyone. The two figures stood facing each other. It was Duan Lingtian and Xue Lang. Senior brother Han Chen is here. On the same day, the invincible superior god Venerable Han Chen, a disciple of the Water Temple, arrived, and immediately attracted the attention of many people. After Han Chen and Ji Qiushui came together, they also joined the crowd. Chapter 45-36. As an invincible high-ranking god, Han Chen is also an absolute celebrity in Bibo Tianfu. His arrival attracted the attention of a group of people. Senior brother Han Chen, the guardian disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall, what the Void Sword Duan Lingtian, actually threatened to fight you and senior brother Xue Lang with one enemy and two, he is simply arrogant and arrogant. Senior brother Han Chen, are you also here to see how Duan Lingtian was slapped in the face? Senior brother Han Chen, after the battle between Duan Lingtian and Xue Lang, will you ask Duan Lingtian to play against each other? As soon as Han Chen arrived, many people greeted him. Since Duan Lingtian said that, it shows that he is quite confident in his own strength. Let's wait and see. Han Chen Dandan smiled. Now, your focus should be on Xue Lang and Duan Lingtian, not me. The voice fell, and Han Chen's eyes fell on the mirror image in front of him. At this moment, the two people in the mirror image also moved. Although Han Chen spoke modestly, but deep in his eyes, there was still a bit of disdain. Disdain for Duan Lingtian. In his opinion, as an invincible superior god, under the supreme power, no one dares to say that he can beat him. If he joins forces with Xue Lang, no one under the power will dare to say that they can be tied with them by one enemy and two, let alone defeat them. Senior brother Han Chen, how long do you think brother Xue Lang will be able to prevail? Someone next to him asked Han Chen. Han Chen Dan said, it's hard to say. After all, I haven't seen it before. Without comprehending the law to the realm of great perfection, there is a superior who is invincible. Kendo touches the seventh order threshold. I also want to see what means he can use. As Han Chen's voice just fell. The two people in the mirror image have completed the first round of tentative confrontation, and they seem to be evenly matched, as if no one is stronger than the other, and no one is weaker than the other. Seeing this scene, Han Chen's face became slightly solemn. This Ling Tian's strength was somewhat beyond his expectations. However, what surprised him even more was what Duan Lingtian said next. Do you have this strength? Duan Lingtian looked at Xue Lang with disappointment in his eyes. The strength of this Xue Lang is similar to that of the invincible superior god Venerable Yao Tianchen that he had previously played against in the place where the old man with no space left to return to the ruins. At the beginning, before he got the memory of the Wukong old man, his strength was no weaker than that of Yao Tianchen. Later, after obtaining the memory of the Wukong old man, his strength improved again. Insanity! Xue Lang shouted angrily, and shot again. The attack became more and more fierce. As for Duan Lingtian, he didn't hold back at this time. After integrating the memories of the old man Wukong, his improved strength was fully revealed. Stop! 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 In the blink of an eye, a storm of sword light blew up around Duan Lingshan's body, and countless sword lights appeared in the vast void, shrouding Duan Lingtian and Xue Lang together. Xue Lang's offensive, although continuous, was completely crushed. During the whole process, Duan Lingshan's expression was calm and he looked extremely relaxed. You are too weak. When a group of people outside looked dumbfounded, Duan Lingtian sighed softly. In an instant, the countless sword lights around him, nearly half of the sword lights close to him, all merged together, turned into a giant sword, and swept towards Xue Lang. Boom! In front of this giant sword, Xuelang's offensive was vulnerable to a single blow, and in an instant, his entire body was also blown away, blood spurting wildly from his mouth. This scene caused an uproar from the onlookers outside. God! What's the situation? How can that be? Senior brother Xuelang, he is an invincible high-ranking god. The strongest existence under the so-called supreme power. Could it be that this Ling Tian is already a supreme power? Duan Ling Tian is not a superpower, his divine power is only the power of a superior god. This is the strength of Kendo to touch the seventh order threshold? Moreover, looking at his space law, it seems that he is not far from the realm of great perfection. This Ling Tian is too terrifying. No wonder it was given a name by the Hall Master Xiao of the Golden Dragon Palace. The void sword is endless, the condensed sword breaks the falsehood. He deserves the title of Void Sword. Outside, a group of Bibo Tianfu disciples were shocked by Duan Lingshan's strength. Although, this is a new disciple who has just entered the Bibo Tianfu. However, in this world where the strong are respected, the strong are respected. This concept will not change because the other party is a newcomer. How could he be so strong? Han Chen was also watching, and his face was not very good looking at this time. He stared at the purple figure in the mirror image, and his eyes were not only afraid, but also afraid. Too strong. Even he is not sure to deal with each other. This. Huang Fuping was stunned. Although Duan Ling Tian defeated him, he did not think that Duan Ling Tian had the strength to defeat Xuelang. Now, seeing Xuelang so miserable, he suddenly realized how blind and arrogant he was before. Kui, who was standing beside Huang Fuping, was also shocked by this incident. He originally thought that Duan Lingshan's strength, even if he was stronger than Xuelang, would not be much stronger. It would not be so easy to defeat Kui, after all, Kui was an invincible high-ranking god. But now, the scene in front of him has completely subverted his past cognition of the invincible upper goddess. I kept my hand, you were only slightly injured. At this time, in the mirror image, Duan Ling Tian spoke again, it shouldn't affect you to have another competition. Go and call Han Chen. Today, I will try 1 against 2, and try the 2 invincible upper gods of Bibo Tianfu. How many caddies and 2 tails are there? Duan Lingshan's words can be said to be very arrogant. If he had crushed and defeated Xuelang, there would have been a lot of scolding. But now, no one thinks he is arrogant. Even the onlookers outside looked at Han Chen subconsciously. Han Chen also came to watch the battle. Now, Duan Ling Tian once again challenged Han Chen and Xuelang to join forces. How will Han Chen choose? Senior brother Han Chen, will you agree? I think there is a high probability. If you fight alone, senior brother Xuelang is not Duan Lingshan's opponent, and senior brother Han Chen, who is comparable in strength to senior brother Xuelang, is naturally the same. Now, there is an opportunity to join forces to deal with Duan Ling Tian, he should not miss it. Under the eyes of everyone, Han Chen finally came out of the sky and entered the Bibo Hall directly. Senior brother Han Chen, is this going to go in? 2 against 1. That's interesting. Although senior brother Xuelang was defeated by Duan Ling Tian, if he can join hands with senior brother Han Chen, he should still be able to win a match. 2 invincible superior gods join forces to deal with a non-superior. If it was before, I would never have dreamed of such a scene. After seeing Han Chen entering the Bibo Hall, there was another sensation outside. In the excited eyes, there is a strong look of anticipation. Chapter 45-37. Han Chen, Xuelang, the 2 invincible superior gods of Bibo Tianfu. In Bibo Tianfu, they are the strongest beings below the strongest. And today, Xuelang was defeated by a non-superior who had just joined Bibo Tianfu. And it's easy to beat. The other party invited Han Chen and Xue Lang to fight together. Now, Han Chen also entered. Mirror image. Han Chen and Xue Lang stood side by side. Standing opposite, it was Duan Lingtian. Why do I think Duan Lingtian might still win? It shouldn't be. Although senior brother Xue Lang seems to be easily defeated by him, since he is not the strongest, there should be a limit to how strong he is. I also think that senior brother Han Chen and senior brother Xue Lang are teaming up, and he may not be an opponent. The onlookers outside were mainly a group of Bibo Tianfu disciples at first. Gradually, the high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu also arrived quietly. Among them, it also includes the master of Bibo Tianfu. Lord Palace Master. The appearance of Palace Master Bibo Tianfu immediately shocked many high-level officials. However, while they were saying hello, Palace Master Bibo Tianfu made another gesture, telling them not to disturb the others. Watch this battle carefully. Han Chen and Xue Lang may be defeated. Hearing the words of their palace master, the high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu all gasped. I also watched the battle just now. Tan Dan, the head of Bibo Tianfu, said, Xue Lang's strength is not far from him, but it is not close. Otherwise, he would not be able to defeat Xue Lang so easily. In addition, he insisted on asking Han Chen and Xue Lang to fight one another, and to fight him, he should also want to use their hands to hone himself. His fight with Xue Lang was short-lived. However, it is not difficult to see that his spatial laws have improved again. It's not far from the realm of great perfection. As the palace master of Bibo Tianfu, although he is not a saint of the 6th rank of the strongest, he is also a semi-sage of the 5th rank. With his unique vision, it is not difficult to see this good. A stern voice came, and then a figure appeared. It was none other than the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, Xiao Tianxi. Hall Master Xiao. Hall Master Xiao. As soon as Xiao Tianxi appeared, a group of people took the initiative to salute him, showing awe. Although this Hall Master Xiao is younger than their senior officials of Bibo Tianfu, his strength is stronger than them, not even weaker than their Bibo Tianfu Palace Master. Junior brother Tianxi, you came back early? Palace Master Bibo Tianfu was surprised, then frowned slightly. How's the investigation going? Why did those disciples die? It's a force collision in the land of returning markets. It is suspected that the power of the masters of returning markets is the power. Xiao Tianxi sighed and said, as for the reason, no one knows. This time, we can be considered as stealing chickens without losing rice. The strong man who left the land of return to the ruins is simply looking for someone to bury him. There was a bit of anger in the eyes of Bibo Tianfu Palace Master's words. This kind of thing can only be considered unlucky. Xiao Tianxi sighed. Otherwise how? Not to mention the powerhouses who left the land of ruins, they were all superpowers before the historical partition. They wanted to find each other, but there was nothing they could do, because the other side had already perished. Even if you take 10,000 steps back and say that the other party is not dead, if you find him, can you still settle accounts with him? Are you his opponent? Okay, let's stop talking about this. Let's take a look at the performance of your guardian disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall. Palace Master Bibo Tianfu's gaze returned to the mirror image in front of him. This time, you, the Golden Dragon Palace, have found a treasure. Xiao Tianxi heard the words, although his mouth was modest, but the proudness raised at the corners of his mouth could not be concealed. On the other side, the senior officials of Bibo Tianfu had already begun to congratulate Xiao Tianxi. Duan Lingtian faced Han Chen and Xue Lang with a calm expression, and Gu Jing had no waves. With a move in my heart, I secretly said, it shouldn't be a problem to beat them. However, my purpose is not as simple as defeating them. I have to rely on them to spar with me. Let them be my whetstones, so that I can further digest the memories left by the Wukong old man, and make my strength further. because of these thoughts. Therefore, after Han Chen and Xue Lang took the lead, he just dealt with them as much as possible, and did not directly explode all his strength to seize the upper hand. From an outsider's point of view, Duan Lingtian was faintly at a disadvantage in this instant confrontation. Is Duan Lingtian about to lose? As expected of the two invincible upper gods of our Bibo Tianfu, they are invincible when they join forces. Senior brother Han Chen and brother Xue Lang are too strong. A group of Bibo Tianfu disciples were extremely excited. Compared to Duan Lingshan's victory, they naturally hoped that Han Chen and Xue Lang would win. He didn't use all his strength. As for the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu, all the existences above the fourth rank of Xian, it is not difficult to see that Duan Lingtian is not doing his best. He didn't even have the strength to easily defeat Xue Lang before. Duan Lingtian, use all your strength. Xue Lang snorted coldly. At this time, he felt humiliated. He joined forces with Han Chen, but he didn't win this Lingtian for a long time. Unlike Xue Lang who had felt Duan Lingshan's true strength, it was certain that Duan Lingtian had left his hand now. When Han Chen heard Xue Lang's words, his expression changed slightly. He did not doubt Xue Lang's words. He still keeps his hand. For a while, Han Chen became more serious. And Duan Lingtian didn't know if he heard Xue Lang's words, and his true strength gradually showed. In this process, whether it was Xue Lang or Han Chen, they did everything they could, and even in the end, even the power of blood was motivated by them and showed it. Two violent forces continued to impact Duan Lingtian. And Duan Lingtian, in the duel with the two, kept quickly digesting the memories of the Wukong old man. So it is. It's very simple. Why didn't you find it before? Here, that's how it is. This place is not as complicated as I imagined. Duan Lingtian, in the confrontation with the two, felt the pressure that the two brought him, and absorbed and digested the memories and insights that the old man Wukong left him under the pressure. During the battle, his perception was improving every moment. When his perception has risen to a critical point, and he is about to rush past like a wreck, he forced himself to stop. Can't break through here. Once the breakthrough is made, not only the space law will step into the realm of great perfection, but also the swordsmanship will completely step into the seventh order. By then, even between the historical partitions, the terrifying catastrophe that few high-ranking gods can survive is coming. Thank you both. Duan Lingtian let out a soft drink, and the sword lights in the void all around his body suddenly gathered together, turned into a strong light, and then shone out. It is radiant and exudes extremely terrifying power. In one fell swoop, Han Chen and Xue Lang, two invincible high-ranking gods, were sent flying. His current strength is not weaker than the existence of the first-order Xian. How is this possible? He is indeed only a high-ranking god. Without entering the powerhouse, has the strength comparable to the powerhouse? How did he do it? In the land outside the realm, and even in the history of all realms, I have never heard of such an alien. The layman watches the fun, the layman watches the doorway. Now, even the palace master of Bibo Tianfu and the palace master of the Golden Dragon Palace are all horrified. Obviously, they were all frightened by Duan Lingshan's last burst of power. Chapter 45-38. After Duan Lingtian went out, he found that Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, was also there, and he quickly greeted him. Under the leadership of Ku Yi, he arrived at the teleportation array in Bibo Tianfu to Wuxia. Sent to the anti-god realm. He wants to go back to the god realm to break through. According to the memory of the empty old man, this breakthrough, it is best to return to the realm where he was born. The power of the realm, to a certain extent, can help you turn your calamity away. Although it's a drop in the bucket, it's better than nothing. Back to the anti-god realm again. The current Duan Lingtian, even the most powerful person who guards the teleportation formation in the anti-god realm, is quite polite to him when he sees him. The last time Duan Lingtian returned with a half-sage, he shocked the entire anti-god realm, causing all the superpowers in the anti-god realm who had originally wanted to fight the Shen Yunquan idea in Duan Lingshan's hands, to die. Anti-god realm. Returning to the anti-god realm again, Duan Lingtian thought of the former semi-sacred powerhouse Duan Yue without any surprise. Sister Wei. As long as I succeed in this calamity, the day I step into Xi'an is the time for me to avenge you. In Duan Lingshan's eyes, an icy killing intent suddenly burst out, and the cold light flickered, as if it could penetrate the heavens and the world, cross the obstacles of space, and lock the person who killed Duan Yue in the past. With the memory of the empty old man. Now, he can attract the heaven and earth, the seventh order of the four realms, and the great perfection law in one calamity. As long as the calamity is successfully broken, he will become the first existence in the contemporary era of myriad realms to take this step. After taking this step, as long as he steps into the realm of Xi'an, he is directly the existence of the seventh order of Xi'an, enough to push the world horizontally and be invincible in the world. Of course, this is not the end for him. The memory of the empty old man, as long as he further becomes his own, steps into the ninth rank of Xi'an, and even reaches the level of parity with heaven, it is just around the corner. According to the memory of the empty old man, the famous fierce places in the anti-god realm, and the three most dangerous fierce places, are not exclusive to the anti-god realm, but are connected to the heavens and the world. Azura Hell is one of them. Duan Lingtian is no stranger to Azura Hell. In the past, his master was light-hearted, that is, after escaping into the Azura Hell, he returned with a shocking encounter and regained his position as the Emperor of Heaven. There, his master gained a lot. Even later, he went to that place with his master, and successfully walked out of the time law road, and now his time law attainments are not low. It's just not as good as the laws of space. Duan Lingtian returned to the god-defying realm. Xiao Mubai, the realm master of the anti-god realm, received the news immediately. However, after learning that Duan Lingtian came back alone, he didn't pay much attention. In his opinion, Duan Lingtian was originally a person from the god-defying realm. It was normal for him to travel back and forth to the god-defying realm. Therefore, even if Duan Lingtian entered the Azura Hell, he did not know. Shura Hell. Thinking that when he entered the Azura Hell, there were many crises, but now, all the way is unimpeded, Duan Lingtian had to feel that time passed so quickly. In a blink of an eye, he already had the strength he has now. According to the memory of the old man Wukong, even if it is a strong saint, that is, the existence of Jiazun, the existence of the sixth order Xi'an, and the power of the soul, compared with the fifth order Xi'an, it is not much stronger. That is to say, even the strongest sage in the world can't get rid of Kir's imprisoned soul. With the existence of the seventh order Xi'an, the soul can be further sublimated. At this level, it is enough to easily let Kir escape the suffering of soul silence. Because of this understanding. Therefore, Duan Lingtian is eager to take this critical step. Otherwise, with his character, he would not have provoked and challenged the two invincible superior gods of Bibo Tianfu one after another on the day he entered Bibo Tianfu. Before Duan Lingtian left, he quickly spread the word about defeating the two invincible high-ranking gods of Bibo Tianfu with less than the cultivation of the strongest. The news spread, and the quartet shook. All forces know that the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu has reached the seventh order threshold of Kendo, and even the laws of space are about to be consummated. Even in the upper three realms with the most lofty status among the myriad realms, many strong people have received news. However, after receiving the news, they shook their heads in unison. I'm afraid it won't be long before another Tianjiao perishes. The seventh order of the four paths of heaven and earth, the space law of the great perfection realm, cannot coexist. If you step in together, you will be provoking the way of heaven and will be obliterated by the way of heaven. The will of heaven is the will of heaven. The will of heaven cannot be violated. In the upper three realms, for countless years, such existences, although rare, have never appeared. However, those existences, without exception, all died under the catastrophe. It's as if the way of heaven is not easy for this heaven and earth to have such a heaven-defying existence. In particular, a group of realm powerhouses from the upper three realms. They are even more aware of this. Among them, there are also some people, in fact, the four worlds have also faintly touched the threshold of the seventh order, but they dare not step in. Because they all know that once they step in, they will usher in death. Unless the 10,000-year catastrophe that appears becomes more and more unstoppable as the years go by, and you want to take advantage of it, you will generally not provoke the way of heaven. However, the powerhouses in the history of the upper three realms, without exception, all died and vanished. High-ranking gods, taking this step and facing the catastrophe, although far less terrifying than the catastrophe faced by the strongest who took this step, but for the superior gods, it is also a devastating blow. In the past, in our realm, it was not that there was no existence of the upper gods who took this step, but they still died and disappeared. Although, the history before the historical partition and the current history are completely disconnected. Almost everyone does not know the truth of the year. However, there are still some people who have discovered this problem and the records have been passed down. Therefore, no one thinks that Duan Lingtian can take the most critical step. They all felt that as long as he dared to take that step, he would surely die. If I were him, I wouldn't try to take that step. Once the four realms of heaven and earth step into the seventh order, the law will be perfect, and it will be forever. Yeah, he might as well separate the relationship between Kendo and space law, and only step into the great perfection of space law, and Kendo will not go any further. In this way, after stepping into the realm of the strongest, he will also be a myriad world, even outside the world, one of the strongest saints and powerhouses. In the current Duan Lingtian, space law and space swordsmanship are integrated, and it is obviously no longer a secret that they promote each other. After all, the high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu are not blind. Naturally you can see this. In Shuras Hell, Duan Lingtian found a place near the edge of the anti-god realm, and began to let go of his intentional suppression of Kendo and space laws. Let the swordsmanship and the laws of space go further together. The law of space, great perfection. Kendo, seventh order. There is no need to focus on any one point at all. Now that the restrictions are released, the two will step in together. And at this moment, Duan Lingtian only felt that his soul seemed to have been sublimated in an indescribable and extremely exaggerated way, making his perception seem to have been enhanced several times, or even 10 times, at this moment. In an instant, on Duan Lingtian, divine power rose up on his own and turned into a huge sword light. Thousands of tiny sword lights shot out from the surroundings, sweeping across the four directions, causing everything in the four directions to be destroyed. In the blink of an eye, a large vacuum zone appeared around Duan Lingshan's body. That's right. It's a vacuum. This is not Duan Lingshan's intention to shoot. This power. Duan Lingtian began to try to control this force that seemed to be able to destroy the world. And in this very moment. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, there was a roar that seemed to be able to pierce the sky, but it was the calamity that wanted to kill Duan Lingtian and other abnormal numbers. My power, I want to control, are you still reluctant? Tian Dao, is it so domineering? Duan Lingshan's eyes flashed with chills, and with a cold smile, he continued to control the power of qualitative change in his body, ignoring the threat of heavenly Dao at all. And with Duan Lingtian doing this, the movement on the horizon is even bigger. It seems to carry the power of the world-destroying power, swept in from outside the god-defying realm. Humph! And Duan Lingtian, who had been prepared for a long time, suddenly stared at his eyes, and all the strength that was ready to go swept out. The whole person stands in the void. In his hands, the raging power condensed, and finally turned into a sword that exudes a breathtaking breath. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.